Based on the results of the study, recognized on June 18, 2025, USA Today's list of California's top car dealers 2025.
Sacramento Kings basketball is back. Be there for opening night at Golden One Center on Friday, October 24th, when the Kings take on the Utah Jazz at 7 p.m. Following opening night, the Kings will take on the LA Lakers on October 26th and then the Golden State Warriors on November 5th. Don't miss these marquee matchups and more great games coming to Golden One Center this season. Head to kings.com/tickets to secure your seat to be part of the action.
Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the best selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. All of them top quality, hand-selected by their general manager, Chuck Dean. You can see for yourself their huge selection at SacSuperstore.com with the lowest prices and the best car buying experiences anywhere. Sacramento Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. Feeding your passion for local sports in the afternoon. It's the Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Kyle Draper on your radio at 1140 a.m.
Streaming audio at SactownSports.com and the Sactown Sports app.
You can also watch the show on YouTube at Sactown Sports 1140. Here are the Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Kyle Draper.
Kevin Gleason, Jay Johnson, and Chris Watkins today.
Woo. Yay.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Why do you walk?
How's it going?
Reunited.
It feels so good. It's been a couple months since you and we did one show together, but it's been a couple years after that. Jay, I was thinking about it. Mm-hmm. Last time I did a show with Jay was when me and Alan were at the Super Bowl for the Niners Chiefs.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since I've been in your guys' presence.
That's right, because the last time you were here, Ramsey did the show.
That's right. Yep. Ramsey did the show for us, and so it's always great to have the super producer Jay back there, and always, of course, a pleasure to be in the presence of one Kevin Michael Whitey Gleason.
Jay got our heads together, and we said, hey, let's see if we can't come up with something that we can talk about today with Chris on the show. So you're welcome.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It was looking a little dead. It's a Wednesday, middle of the week. Football isn't until tomorrow. I was like, what do we? I mean, we can find a couple things. Devin Carter gets his third-year option extended. Maybe we can talk about that. And wake up this morning and there's quite a bit of news to talk about. Appreciate it.
Guess what the top story was today on ESPN's NBA Today?
Was it about Malcolm Brogdon leaving Mike Brown's squad?
No, it was about Luka.
Oh, okay.
But the second story, it was about Luka last night, his preseason debut. The second story was about Russell Westbrook.
Well, there we go. We've made it. We've officially made it then. And you know what? Funny enough, I do think part of it. Now, it's not for the ESPN headline, but jokingly, of course, like I do think the jersey sales and the maybe boost in ticket sales, it has to do a little bit with the factoring in of bringing in Russell Westbrook, which, by the way, I haven't had it confirmed yet. Maybe you could help me just off of the top of your head. I tried to text it to Kings PR, never heard back. I think Russell Westbrook might be the first former MVP that has been on the Kings roster, at least Sacramento era. I'm pretty confident. Obviously, Oscar Robertson back in the day for the Kings franchise in total, but I don't believe they have had a former MVP on the roster, period.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind.
Obviously, none of their, Peja, Weber, like all the greats that we can think of. Vince Carter, obviously not an MVP, is a future Hall of Famer. Rajon Rondo was, I'm just thinking, maybe more current. I just, obviously MVP as well. There's not many out there. At least in the Sacramento era, I feel like I can confidently say, and again, Oscar Robertson, big exception here, but to have a former MVP walk through the doors, like even though he's year 18? I think at least it and it was something I was thinking about earlier as well, just the perception that there's been of Sacramento in the past, like, of course, from even not being able to get draft prospects in here to now these past 2 years, granted, end of their careers, but nonetheless, 2 future Hall of Famers coming to Sacramento. It just feels like that narrative that used to exist of nobody's going to come out here to Sacramento. You would have to be good at the very least to get a big name to come out here to Sacramento. We've seen these past 2 off seasons. Take it with a grain of salt, but they still came nonetheless.
Another footnote to that whole 2 future Hall of Famers, Steve Nash and among others, says that Dennis Schroeder with his international accomplishments will be a future Hall of Famer as well.
Absolutely, and you can debate back and forth on whether that's justified or not, but with his basketball resume, nonetheless, a Hall of Famer Naismith Hall of Famer, no doubt. I think with just the World Cups and the MVP trophies, and even in the Olympics, I believe he was named first team all Olympic. So, I guess you can throw another Hall of Famer in there as well.
Maybe, yeah. It seems to me there are three camps today as far as Kings fans and how they feel about the acquisition of Russell Westbrook. On the one hand, you got people that are very excited and happy, and this is great. He's a great player. This is tremendous. You also have some people, led by Carmichael Dave, who are like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Some people are upset by it for whatever reason. And then there's a third camp, and I'm definitely in that third camp, which is just, okay, I'm not quite sure I understand it. I'm not saying it's tremendous. I'm not saying this is terrible. I'm just not quite sure I understand it. We talked about it yesterday, Jay and Matt George and I, about how does it really fit. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm not assuming this or that. Sean Cunningham, as we mentioned earlier in the crossover, had something very interesting to say along those lines today. He said, this could be something that makes more sense when they do whatever the next thing is. I don't know, so I'm keeping an open mind. The thing that puzzles me is the notion that Russell Westbrook comes in and shows your young players how it's done, which I get. On the other hand, he may be taking minutes from some of those young players. Maybe. So that's where I'm not saying this is terrible. I'm still trying to figure out what to make of it.
Yeah, I think I understand the logic in why they would be attracted to him in general, but I think the fact that they've prioritized it is the part that is really, really confusing, especially with it coming off the heels of Keegan's injury. The problem with signing Westbrook has always been, and even continues to be, there's a logjam at the guard position, and if anything, to your point, it's much further complicated with him being there. But with Keegan being gone, or at least missing some time to start the season, it just doesn't seem like that should be this time should be used to fulfill that priority that you apparently had. I would go out and sign a 3. I think, again, like Russell Westbrook, you understand everything you just said is, I think, the logic for why the Kings bring him in is a guy with a motor every single day. He can be an example of the kind of effort you want to show, and I think that's been something. As we've kind of tried to figure out what is the Kings' purpose this season, are they trying to win games? Are they trying to develop youth? The one very, very clear thing from Scott Perry especially has been they want to form an identity. And that's the part where I understand. Again, Russell Westbrook really does, if your identity is going to be showing up every single day, being a lunch pail team, being maybe, in theory, a defensive-minded team, not that Russ brings that part of it, but again, just the mentality that he brings on a nightly basis, that's where I understand it. But again, I can't really justify it being the priority. And so that's where I totally understand people being frustrated and being upset, because this team does desperately need help, and it's just completely ignoring a really, really big hole.
Although I guess the answer to that is, well, there was a need for somebody to play point.
Yeah,
besides
especially in the
Schroeder.
backup capacity. Right?
Yeah, backup point guard. And I know there have been suggestions. I think Sam Amick wrote about how, they weren't feeling too comfortable about that. It does seem, and I'm not sure about this, because we're not privy to the day-to-day negotiations. It seems like this was something that everyone was talking about, and then maybe it was on the back burner, and then they revisited those conversations, but maybe that's not true. Maybe that was going to happen this way all along. One of the things that's interesting to me, we all understand how a guy who plays like Russell Westbrook could set the tone for some of your younger players.
Right.
This is how we play this way, the way Coach Christie wants it to play, up-tempo, both ends of the floor. This is how it's done. And, some of the young players have already embraced that. As professionals, for some of the really new players, it's all they've known. So I'm wondering if on some level it's also to show some of the veterans that as a veteran, this is how we're doing it here.
It's a standard setter, right?
Yeah,
it's just, it
not
doesn't matter.
just for the young players.
100%. And actually, I would argue, who are the Kings' young players, right? They really don't have that many. Keegan Murray's been in the league 4 years. He's about to be on his rookie extension. Obviously, Nick Clifford, but even then, he's an older rookie. You can go down the list. The guys who are really getting minutes are impactful for this team are all 30+. Zach LaVine, 30+. Domantas Sabonis, 30+. If you're going to talk about the value of Russell Westbrook teaching the young guys, there's just not that many impressionable young guys that really need that specific lesson taught to them. So yeah, I definitely think at the very least it could be somebody that, can be, Doug's best friend, a coach's best friend, and say, look, this guy is ready. This guy, I will put this guy in, and I know what he will give me right here, right now. And so if, Dennis Schroeder, you want to act as if we're giving you the keys to the franchise to be the franchise point guard, and you can just kind of, use this as a springboard opportunity. Well, there's a guy who, if you're not pulling on the same string, we can put him in. So I think there's that element to it. But I think the it's crazy to say, but I think all the non-basketball stuff are the reasons why it makes sense to me for Russ to be here. The basketball reasons, that is really where you start to get murky. And first and foremost is he's not a shooter either. I mean, it's one thing if you're going to be an older guy and maybe somebody who's tough to squeeze in, but, you have a clear skill set where you can plug and play. With how Russell Westbrook's usage percentage has been in the past as well, I think there is some questions on there's only one ball. Is he going to be out there with Malik Monk in the second unit? Is he going to be playing with DeMar DeRozan? Just how in general does he share the ball, I think has kind of always been a question with Russ.
Yeah, looking at it from the basketball standpoint and keeping in mind yesterday when we had this conversation, Jay was saying it's not really all about the basketball side of it. And I get that. But if you do look at what he would bring on the floor, the fact that, again, you're not getting him bigger, you're, if anything, staying smaller.
Right.
If this is going to be a smaller team, if they choose to play that way, to me, what I've noticed in the NBA and observed is if you're going to be a smaller team, you better be able to shoot well.
Yeah, 100%.
This team is not a very good, right now, they're not a very good shooting team.
No, especially when you take Keegan out of the equation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's diabolical. I mean, I think it's a really, really good point. And even Malik Monk, you can throw in there. You would think he's a really good shooter. Malik has never been over 36% in his career. And so, if you're going to look at the what does Russell Westbrook do to complicate this entire equation, I really think that there's some very legitimate questions on what this does to everybody, what this does to the rotation. Whitey, it's something you mentioned to start the show. Even what does this do for Neek Clifford and where he gets minutes? Because I do think it made a lot of sense if Malik Monk was going to be that backup point guard. Well, then maybe you do have some minutes at the 2, maybe some minutes at the 3 to sprinkle Neek Clifford in. Now, just trying to do the math, it's Schroeder and Russ at point. At the 2, I would imagine it's Levine, Monk, Keon Ellis, and that pretty much only leaves minutes behind DeMar DeRozan at the 3, or I guess, however you want to swap Keon Ellis and Neek Clifford. It just kind of really hamstrings what you can do with Neek Clifford potentially, again, not knowing exactly what Doug's plan is right now. I think it definitely doesn't help clear up any of the confusion that you might have had these past couple of days, especially with Keegan out.
Chris Watkins is with us today.
Hey.
It's Jay and Whitey and Chris Watkins. Whitey and Watkins reunited. Just a quick check here of the YouTube chat.
Oh, boy.
How are fans feeling about this? I think you can guess if you've been listening, you've been talking to other fans. It's kind of mixed. We have from Alex Levko, Sacramento where stars go to die, crying emoji. Then we have Campio. The guard the Kings picked up today is better than the point guard they signed a couple of months ago. Amadrock, I'm excited to have Westbrook on the team. I've set my expectations low, though. Let's see. We have a number of other comments here. Scotty Pop, LOL, Kings Herald headline. Breaking, Kings add 36-year-old guard to an already geriatric 33-win guard-heavy team. So
I think that's it. That's the winner there. Yeah.
Yeah. Very excited. This is a disaster.
Well, even very excited is tempered. It's very excited, but I have low expectations. I've made sure that I know realistically what to expect. And I think I do think that's the safest way of doing this, is being excited, because again, these are names that on the very surface level, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, all these, it's players that we were kind of talking before the show. The roster is talented. There's definite, even just from a name value perspective, but also things that these guys can still bring to the floor. It's not as if Russell Westbrook is completely washed. He averaged 13 a game last year and was on a playoff team. Mm-hmm. You could argue got a coach fired because the coach wanted to play him so bad over young guys. I think there's still some hope there, and I kind of feel the same about Dennis Schroeder. It just feels like the narrative has just been beaten down so much with this team that, most likely, sure, they will be near 500 and they won't be anything exciting. But the other thing that I've seen just pop up here recently is a lot of people who've been here in Sacramento, it's not lost on them that, hey, we're the Sacramento Kings. Why are we poo-pooing being a potential playoff team. Like that shouldn't be something
very odd.
that this franchise, this organization should raise their nose at.
That's one of the many reasons I'm glad you're here today, Chris. There are many reasons why I'm glad you're here, but it's especially, I think, useful for all of us here and beneficial to have somebody who I would consider to be a Kings optimist.
Okay.
You know?
Sure.
Because I've heard you.
I love that. Why not?
I've heard you on with
I've ever
Alan
described
saying,
myself. Yeah.
And I don't think you've been unreasonably optimistic. I don't think you're sugarcoating it, but I've heard you say, hey, I think this team is going to do better than some people think.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yes,
yeah.
very fair.
I appreciate that today because things, especially on the station at times, despite Alan's best efforts, have been a little doomy and gloomy.
A little bit. Yeah, and again, and I even understand it. Like, because I understand, like, if you're not going to, I don't want to, like, if you're just going to look at it from its surface, like, again, the Kings lost their franchise point guard last year. They don't have a clear direction. They were a 7 seed or whatever it was last year that they finished, don't end up making the playoffs out of the play-in. So you're getting worse on paper from a roster last year that was already disappointing. I understand why it's really, really tough to find any level of optimism, but the best that I can tell you is just every year is a new year, and I do truly believe that these guys aren't carrying any baggage. Like it's been the one very consistent message that they've had since media day is that they are together as a group. You can joke that obviously they should be. Like it's only been 3 weeks. There's nothing to really hate each other about, but I do truly believe that this is a unit that is not focused on all the drama that happened last year over the offseason, any of the questions that people have. Like they truly are single track focused, and I do think there's at least some value in that these guys are all pulling on the same string. They all believe the message that Doug is preaching as well. Who knows, again, how long that message sticks with them. But from veteran guys like DeMar DeRozan to Nick Clifford being a rookie, like all of those guys truly do believe that they can go out there and prove something and that there is something within that building.
I think you made a very cogent point there.
Good
I
word.
was looking at the Zach Lowe, well, it's actually Bill Simmons' podcast.
Yes.
I heard someone calling, I think it was Ishmael called in Dave today and was talking about this podcast. So I listened to it. Bill Simmons was talking to Zach Lowe, and there was another gentleman. I don't know who he was. I don't know if you saw that.
It's his friend.
His friend.
Bill Simmons' house.
It's Bill
his
Simmons'
friend, his friend house.
They were doing NBA over and unders on all the teams. When they got to the Kings, they were adamantly under, and they were piling on the Kings pretty good, which if you're a Kings fan, you're used to that. Yeah. But one of the things Zach Lowe said that I didn't think was fair was he talked about the vibe. I hate this team. The roster's bad. This is bad. The vibe's bad. And how would he know that? Right. Look, I know this is a mismatched roster, and there are a lot of things right now about the Kings that will leave any right-minded fan going, I don't know. But the vibe is bad to the point you made. Anybody who's been around the team, we were out there. I was out there media day. I know you've been out there since.
Yep.
The vibe is not bad around the team.
Not at all. Not even
that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but the vibe is not bad.
It's not. No, it's legitimate too. Like there's no questioning if anyone has any, questions about DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, if they maybe think, I've seen this guy, I already know how this play is going to go. Like there is none of that. Those two are pulling on the same string. If anything, I would say there's some healthy competition that I've witnessed between Dennis Schroeder and Malik Monk. But like besides that, there is not really any contention. There's no clicks. There's no nothing. Like there's not, with the Warriors situation, it's not old versus young guys or anything like that. It is truly
nobody
they believe.
Has punched a teammate.
No, not yet.
To your Warrior example.
Exactly. We'll see how many more people they're going to bring in here. But to say the vibe is bad is just false. Like it is a really good collective unit, and I think. Again, like we'll see what happens when this team actually hits some real adversity. When the season's around, but. For right now, I do truly believe that they are all drinking the Kool-Aid, and it's not just them putting on a front for PR or anything like that. Like we watch them work out together as we're doing scrums and all of that. When they don't think any eyes are on them, they're all together. They're all joking. It's all, it's Dennis Schroeder hanging out with Dexter Dennis and Daquan Plowden. It's not the stars. It's not the starters. It's not guys who have been here versus guys who haven't. It is a true basketball team. Like it really is. There's a true collection of older guys, younger guys who are fighting for contracts, young guys. Like it is a really, really good group of guys.
I'll tell you another thing. When I first heard about this, going way back to the beginning of summer, and by the way, it's funny because remember I know we talked about it on this show, the Kings are scheduled to interview Russell Westbrook and Malcolm Brogdon.
That's right, yeah.
I think they're supposed to have Zoom interviews or
Yes,
something, if
yep,
I remember.
yep.
When free agency started, Malcolm Brogdon ended up with the Knicks, and he announced his retirement today. But I remember when I first heard that, honestly, one of my first thoughts was, this sounds like a Vivek thing. Like Vivek likes the star power of Russell Westbrook. No one had told me that. It was one of my, I just guessed. But I've been told since then that was not the case. And then if you read, as you probably have read Sam's story, players on the team were pushing for this.
Advocating for
Yes.
it. Absolutely. Scott Perry obviously was behind it. He obviously signs off on it finally. Doug Christie is somebody who's been a Russell Westbrook fan in the past, but there's some real history there. I was just explaining it to somebody earlier, like DeMar DeRozan, him and Russell Westbrook, both LA guys. They infamously in the Kendrick Lamar pop-up show, like they're dancing on stage together, both like same age as well. I think Russ year 18, DeMar year 17. Russell Westbrook was Domantas Sabonis' vet when Sabonis was a rookie in OKC. So there's like real relationships.
West and Schroeder have been teammates a couple times.
And I think there's been points where they've had some contention, but I think by the time they left LA, both of those guys very, very close relationship. And so I think, like you said, you mentioned or Sam mentions in his story that internally they were pushing for this. The guys on the floor are pushing for this. And I think that's another really good check mark if you are concerned about maybe if this guy being a locker room cancer, maybe this guy potentially, again, looking at this situation and saying, I'm a former MVP walking into Sacramento. They've never had anything like this. This is an opportunity for me to maybe rejuvenate my career. I think the guys in the locker room having a previous relationship with him, at the very least, we've had many conversations throughout the years. Mike Brown talking about it can't be the coach delivering these messages. It's got to be the guys that are actually in the locker room delivering those messages. At the least, it seems like there's some form of previous relationship, some form of open line of communication between guys within the locker. Like, I don't even know if Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, texted on the weekend. Like, we don't know what kind of relationship they had. I think there will at least be very, very real relationships on this team.
A couple days ago, I was just looking up something on Westbrook, and so I Google searched, Russell Westbrook, Sacramento. And one of the things that came up, I wasn't expecting it to, but it was video of 2018, and it was Russ. That would have been the current building, right? 2018?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he got into it with Willie Cauley-Stein. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't know.
So I think a lot of Kings fans are like,
right. It's
hey.
it's very much reminiscent of a lot of Kings fans weren't fans of Jonas Valanciunas because he threw Chimezie Metu off his shoulder, broke his wrist. Wouldn't surprise me.
Never forgets, and
that's right.
Neither does a Kings fan.
That's very, very true.
I think together we can get over that.
I'm going to need a triple-double or two before I forget what you did to Willie Cauley-Stein.
It's going to take some time.
Look, Willie was never the same after that fight, and I think people will like him. I think, again, I think it's going to be a lot of you don't like it when he's not on your team, but I really think Kings fans, and especially since they've missed, they have not had a guy like Russell Westbrook in terms of aggression and just kind of being that agitator. I can't remember the last time the Kings had a guy who truly was just out there to push buttons. Not that that's the only reason Russ is out there, but he naturally gets under people's skin. And I think that's going to be really fun for Kings fans to be on the other side of for once.
It's just such a funky roster.
It's weird.
Yes, there is talent there. If you look at Law Murray's positional rankings, and he's going to join us at 3, and the Kings are top 10 and I think 3 positions, but then at the other 2 they're like 24th and 20th or something, point guard and power forward. So it's, I understand that's why some fans are frustrated. Wow, you already had an issue at the forward spot, and then Keegan's out, then you sign Russ as a response to that, and it wasn't a response to that. I think that was going to happen anyway, but I understand why fans are wondering why you didn't address that, what appears to be a glaring need.
Yeah, and especially when it's not just been a problem for this season, too.
Right.
It's like this wing issue has been a problem for this roster for X amount of years. Monty McNair dealt with that problem in the past, and it's just the continually year over year ignoring the problem. Now, you could say that's maybe not Scott Perry's fault.
Harrison
he just got
Barnes
here,
when
but
you need him?
It's crazy. It's really, really crazy that we used to talk with Harrison Barnes here about how Harrison Barnes was the only forward in the building, and now we're having the same conversation with Keegan Murray. Like, even Trey Lyles not being in the building, it hurts. Like, this is where it's kind of crazy, but the Kings not getting Jake LaRavia back really, really hurts because he's just somebody who you could have thrown in that position and have it not be missing something that, you can throw Doug McDermott out there to replace Keegan's shooting, but he's obviously not going to bring it in other elements. You can maybe throw Isaac Jones out there and get some elements of Keegan's defense and some rebounding, but obviously the offense isn't going to be there. Jake LaRavia, again, he's not Keegan Murray, but you could have at least closed your eyes for a little bit, 9 games, 15 games, and maybe you could have at least gotten through that time without him. Now it just feels like now you have to get creative.
Chris, where's your guy Sasha Vezenkov when you need him?
Ooh, I honestly do. That's a great question. I honestly do not have the answer to it. My guess would be in Greece somewhere, but I honestly don't know.
What do you think they're going to do tonight at the at the 4 spot?
It's a good question.
I think they'd love to play Maxime there as much as they can, but I don't know.
I think it's too early.
Yet.
Yeah, I think it's too early for all that. I would guess that they throw I'll say they throw Malik Monk into the starting lineup, and they move everybody else up. They move DeMar to the 4, Zach to the 3, and throw one of either Keon or Malik into the starting lineup. I don't agree with it. I don't love it, but I think that, unfortunately, you don't have any – there's no right answer.
Just the thought of DeMar playing a lot of time at the 4 I get a legitimate case of the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, no, I do too. I continue to just point to the specific last year or it might have been 2 years ago it was last year when they played the Denver Nuggets. He was pretty much guarding Aaron Gordon the entire fourth quarter. A lot of back cuts, a lot of lobs. And so, when you're not going to move off ball a ton defensively, it's going to be rough at the 4. So, yeah, him going against, the Anthony Davises of the world, the Chet Holmgrens of the world, it's going to be a tough night. Going to be a tough night on a lot of nights for the Kings but even with Keegan, that's the other thing is with Keegan, it was still going to be a problem. Without him, that's where, again, I say there's not really much point in trying to replace that Keegan. And Doug's talked about it, in this week. You can't really replace a guy like that. I think this is where you try and hit him with a counter, right? Like we can't match you height for height. And so maybe we try and win the small ball game. But to your earlier point, they really aren't built to play that small ball game either. And so it's just a dog chasing its tail.
Yeah. Maybe we can answer that before we're done today. We take you up to game night. Whiting, Watkins, and Jay. The conversation on this Russell Westbrook day continues with the Drive Guys next on Sactown Sports.
This is Holly Robinson Pete for Eggland's Best. Eggs are a staple in our diet, and there's only one egg with more delicious, farm-fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties, classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
I found out that one of my players was vaping, and I said, hey, right now's the time to be honest with me. He said almost everybody in my team was vaping. The next day, all the parents came in. I said, how many of you guys think that your kids are vaping? Not one of them raised their hand. There's a joint fight to make something better. We don't sit back and let it happen.
Coach Sanchez is exposing Big Tobacco's playbook. Learn how he and other Californians are beating Big Tobacco at undo.org.
The deals are on now at the model year-end sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save on year-end models and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at folsomlakehonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda. Go to folsomlakehonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Footballs are flying. The days are getting shorter. Fall is officially here. Will your heater be able to get you through the winter? The heater at Whiteywood shut down last winter, so who did we call? Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. We wanted somebody we could trust to do the job right and deliver great value, and Lee's came through. Check them out at leesair.com. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating has built a reputation as the leading HVAC company in Sacramento. We've got a new HVAC system that works great, saves us money month to month. Find out how they can help you at leesair.com. License number 635355.
For over 90 years, Hagen Oaks has partnered with the biggest brands in golf to bring cutting-edge technology to your game. Our one-of-a-kind total game fitting offers a level of experience and precision that is unmatched. From driver to putter, footwear to golf balls, our TrackMan-powered performance studios, 3D footwear scanner, and Ping's Ballnamic ball fitting kiosk ensure every piece of your gear is tailored to your swing. Trust the experts at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Total game fitting starts here.
Hey man, gaining weight, low energy, lost drive? It could be your testosterone. Revive Men's Health Sacramento helps men get their edge back. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations.
When men start treatment, it's not just their labs that change. You see it in their posture, their energy, and how they walk into the room. That's why I do what I do.
Call 916-619-3000 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 916-619-3000 or schedule anytime at revivemenshealth.com.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Ready to boogie? November 1st at the venue, Thunder Valley Casino. Saturday Night Dance Fever featuring Cool and the Gang, Heatwave, Tavares, The Traps, hosted by Denny Terrio. Saturday Night Dance Fever, November 1st at Thunder Valley Casino. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. A World One Presents event.
I'm told key players advocated for Westbrook as well. One of them being DeMontis Sabonis. They played together in Oklahoma City. And then two other players, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, who have LA ties just like Westbrook. And he also knows their new assistant general manager, BJ Armstrong, from their player representation days together. And so after waiting 4 months, the one-time NBA MVP, Russell Westbrook, is back for his 18th season in Sacramento.
Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Chris Watkins with us today. And Whitey and Jay. And Jay, before we get back to the Russell Westbrook conversation, what do you think? Dance night, Saturday night dance night, Thunder Valley, Cool and the Gang.
You in the building, baby?
Well, I don't know. What do you think?
We about to, you know what I mean? We about to get that thing in there. You know what it is. Come on now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. I was just there this past weekend from my boy, the Loonies and E40 and Too Short and Company. But, yeah, I don't mind doubling back.
Tavares? Are you kidding me?
I don't even know who that is.
You don't?
No.
I think
Tavares,
that's
I have no clue.
Isn't that heaven must be missing an angel?
I mean, you know I'm going to find it.
Yeah. I'll bet you know it. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You're not familiar with
Before
Tavares?
my time. I know,
Okay.
obviously, Jungle
Cool.
Boogie, but
Yeah.
Cool and the Gang, of
Cool
course.
and the Gang,
But no, not familiar with Tavares now.
Tavares, yeah.
Yeah, no. It's not me.
So you're going to be joining us there?
Oh, sure.
Saturday
Why
night
not?
dance
Yeah,
night?
why not?
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Who wouldn't?
Jay, I know you're juggling a number of things here. I want to get your opinion when you are in position to share with us on Russ, because I know based on what you said yesterday, I think you're strongly in favor of this move. Am I right?
I'll say this as we slapping a little Tavares. Here we go. Actually, now that I saw some of the songs, I'm like, oh, yeah, Moms used to slap this on a Saturday while cleaning the house before a Little League game. You know how it went.
Yes.
No, listen, anytime, as C-Dub already has pointed out, you bring in an MVP, there's something to it, right? When it comes to saying what he's going to do off the court, I'm all for it. But I've also said, and, you know, no disrespect to the Kings, but I'll also say this. The organization isn't the best when it comes to keeping it real, meaning having tough conversations. And that's just the truth. So we hope that Scott Perry, BJ, Doug, they've learned from the past and the history and have had that conversation. And that's what our predecessor, when it comes to having Russell, is you need to have the conversation to be upfront and real. There's going to be some nights you probably don't play, big dog. Now, that's what I would say. So I'm hoping they kept it a buck and kept it real with Russell Westbrook. So we'll see how it pans out. I'm really not on either side of the fence. I think I'm coming to your yard where this is going to be interesting to watch now. If anything, it's entertaining.
Yeah, definitely entertaining.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, again, I haven't heard anything other than what is publicly available to everybody. I'm wondering if they look at this and say, they were trying to move Malik, right? We think you know that they're trying to move Malik.
Allegedly.
I think we can say with some certainty, actually, with how much it was out there.
Yeah. So I could see how they would look at this and go, Russ as a sixth man would be a good fit here if we can move Malik. I don't know. That may be part of their plan.
For sure. Definitely. And if not Malik, Devin Carter, right? I mean, one of those two guys for sure is, and specifically Devin, is absolutely outside looking in. But if you're thinking maybe more long-term, or long-term could even be until the trade deadline here, it definitely does smell like, well, we just went through it. Like Keon Ellis has to get minutes. Neek Clifford has to get minutes. Those are coming from Malik Monk's spots. And so even if you want to throw, I know a lot of people talked about Neek Clifford potentially playing some ball handler minutes. So all of those things seem to equal on top of the roster imbalance. If you are looking for trade options, and Keon Ellis also didn't have his didn't work out an extension, I think Keon, Malik, and Devin Carter are absolutely three names that I would expect the Kings to try and move on from, to try and add some forward depth. I know Kelly Oubre is a name I continue to bring up because his name has already been kind of thrown into the trade block in Philadelphia. But I think like those kind of, straggler, journeyman, Royce O'Neal, Torrey Craig type guys are the ones that we're going to be hearing about again. These kind of like makeshift placeholder forwards. And
bridge forwards.
Bridge forwards,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What kind of bridge?
Yeah. Not McHale and not Miles, probably. But,
Yeah.
It's
Let me
it's a
ask you
mess.
something. Let me ask both of you guys something.
That was a good
because
answer.
this
Thank
is that was dope. There's always a worry by people like us, journalists, media, outsiders, fans, armchair GMs, as folks like Draper always say, people in the basement, right? Which I'm not in the basement. Live in California.
basement
We don't
dweller.
have
Yeah.
basements.
I have a crawl space.
Yeah, that's East Coast stuff.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is all I used to tell Draper, man, shut up. That's
Yeah.
East Coast stuff.
You're
We
out
don't
here
have basements
now.
out
You don't
here.
like it, go home.
That's
Yeah.
right. We always quarrel about who's getting minutes and are there enough minutes for guys. And my experiences always tell me minutes normally shake out perfectly throughout the season. I think it's a talking point. I think it's something that we look at it on paper, we look at in analytics, and we say, oh, there's not going to be enough minutes. And then you turn around and guess what happens? Keegan Murray gets hurt, so now we got a whole hell of a lot of minutes. And then somebody else gets traded, and this person gets hurt. And it normally works its way out to where it's like, okay, we got enough of player A, B, and C I don't really like, so let's go with player A and B. It normally shakes out itself.
Yeah, to me, the interesting part of it, though, is we look at it and wonder whose minutes are going away, and sometimes the team already knows the answer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We just don't know. So
Right.
I think that is a valid question. Like, all right, well, who are they giving those minutes to? Is it Devin Carter?
Right.
It's early to give up on him. We'll find out. And you're right, Jay. They have a plan, and then sometimes things that you don't plan dictate all of that. But I think that's a fair question with all these guards right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes, or maybe even a lot of the time, it more is just a wrong use of phrasing. Like, I think a lot of the times, sometimes, yes, definitely, we are arguing about, is this person receiving enough minutes, full stop. But I think a lot of the time, the conversation that people actually want to have that they just don't really know they want to have is, is that person in the closing lineup? Because that's really the time where you notice who is in and who isn't in the game. You're not really in the middle of the third quarter going to say, man, we're 6 minutes in and we still haven't gotten our Neek Clifford minutes. I think a lot of the time would be more so, hey, like this guy, I feel like this guy is impactful enough to finish games. And the last 3 minutes, we're rolling out Russell Westbrook. But I feel like Keon Ellis is the one who really would impact winning more. And so the conversation, to Jay's point, becomes, is Russell Westbrook getting too many minutes over Keon Ellis? When actually the conversation should be, should Keon Ellis finish games instead of Russell Westbrook?
Yeah, I think another thing that makes it tricky for us, people who've been following the Kings for the last few years, makes it tricky to know what's going on because we view all of this through the lenses of the last few years. And I don't want to name any players because I'm not taking a shot at anybody, but I'll just say, Keon, we think, wow, Keon is the future of this franchise. Right. And we've seen him go from, who's this guy, to, wow, he can play. But you have a new regime now. We don't know 100%. What they think of him.
Right.
Yep. And that applies to Keegan as well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
so when we're trying to guess, what's going to happen, some of it we are just guessing because we can't be sure that the current regime sees them the same way we've seen them.
No, absolutely. And that's completely across the board. And, we don't know what future plans hold for all the guys. Domantas Sabonis, like I've been saying all offseason, there's not a guy that I could confidently say right now will be here at this point next season. Not a single guy on this roster. Keegan Murray, Nick Clifford, I guess you could say some of the rookies and stuff, but I would not confidently say Domantas Sabonis. I would not confidently say DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Dennis Schroeder, Keegan Murray, Keon Ellis, Malik Monk. None of these guys I think are guaranteed to be on the roster next year. And so, I think a lot of this is still a work in progress. And I think that's also where I'll just wait and see for the Scott Perry grades and all that stuff because it's first off, it's really more of like a 2 to 3 year curve, but I think like it's still just a work in progress. Like we'll see what this team looks like at the trade deadline, and if he starts to follow more of the Monty McNair mold, where it's always just pushing the can down the line. Hey, there was no opportunistic opportunity for us to jump on this deadline. So I don't know. Just in general, I think it definitely looks very confusing, and the puzzle pieces don't fit right now. But I'm not willing to say Scott Perry has no idea what he's doing. Why is he bringing in Russell Westbrook when I think the larger point of our entire conversation here is we just don't know what actual direction this thing is going, and there might be decisions that have already been made that we're just not privy to.
Yeah, and it's also possible that some of those opinions are still being formulated.
Absolutely.
We think this about this guy, but we want to see a little more.
Absolutely. Yeah, Keon Ellis, that's a perfect example where it's everyone assumes, they didn't work out an extension for him, and so this must mean they plan on not having him in the future. Keegan Murray, same thing. His rookie extension, it's still out there. What? They don't know what they're going to get. Like, I think it's just all an evaluation or a reevaluation process right now and that's how it should be, frankly. You shouldn't I don't think they should have their minds made up on any of these guys because we really don't know. We don't know if Keon Ellis has more to give or if this is it. If Keegan Murray is going to continue to develop or if maybe he continues to kind of flounder about a little bit. Like I feel like they are right to still be in an evaluation process.
Yeah, you want to be prudent.
Prudent and opportunistic. That's what I keep hearing.
That is what I keep hearing. I couldn't remember the opportunistic part.
Prudent and opportunistic.
Law Murray's going to join us top of the hour from The Athletic. We'll see what he thinks. The conversation continues when we come back. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Chris Watkins with us today on a Westbrook Day, Sactown Sports.
The Sactown Sports 1140 newsletter. Right to your email. Get your latest on the Sacramento Kings, UC Davis, and Sac State with a Sactown Sports 1140 newsletter. Visit SactownSports.com to join.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays hit different when you earn them. We've got you covered with outdoor power equipment from Cobalt and everything you need to weatherproof your deck with Trex decking. Plus, with lawn care from Scott's and, of course, Pit Boss grills and accessories, you can get a home field advantage all season long. So get to Lowe's, get it done, and earn your Sunday. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-329-2121. That's 800-329-2121.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Also that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mike Rowe here with another random fact. Those cracks on your walls aren't just cosmetic. They could mean your home is sinking. Whether it's drywall cracks, exterior cracks, or sticking doors or windows, do yourself a favor. Call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to stabilize your foundation.
Groundworks, official foundation repair company of Cal Athletics. Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Just announced, Stockton Honda has been named #1 of California's best car dealers in 2025 by USA Today and Statista. This prestigious award is based on thousands of customer reviews and recommendations, ranking dealerships for service, value, and satisfaction. Out of hundreds evaluated, Stockton Honda is proud to be #1, recognized for all-around excellence and commitment to our customers. Visit Stockton Honda, where reputation meets the road.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Mixed reaction on this. I'm going to borrow this from whoever suggested it. Amadrock. Thank you, Amadrock. Westbrook Wednesday.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's 100% what it is. Feels like. Feels like
Chris Watkins, Jay Johnson, Kevin Whitey Gleason.
Whitey and Watkins on a Westbrook Wednesday.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. It's Whitey and Watkins on a Westbrook Wednesday. Scott Perry has no idea what he's doing from TR.
No idea? Like, not a clue.
Scotty Pop, Keon getting no run now. Bance of the Young, no point in watching then. So.
Wow. You know. Season's over. That's big.
I don't think we need to get our daubers down about this.
Yeah. It'll definitely mean less of an opportunity for Keon for sure, but I'm pretty sure he'll still find some minutes out on the floor, at least a couple. I think, Doug is obviously like such a defensive-minded guy. Let's not forget, like, Russell Westbrook, obviously not necessarily a highlight defender at this point in his career. Something tells me, like, there will be a lot of moments where Doug will pull him for Schroeder or for Keon Ellis for defensive reasons. We'll see, though.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe it is over. Maybe we're just being too optimistic.
1 year, 3-point-something mil, right, for Russell Westbrook?
Should be a veteran minimum, which I don't know what the specifics are because of, him signing not technically at the, technically the season's already started, so maybe that took off a little bit of his money, but I do know the one thing the Kings actually have been really good about as an organization is getting people their money. Like, if they, have a G League guy or something like that, they'll usually do the best they can to get that guy the most money possible. So if there's any money left on the table, something tells me, I don't think Kings fans will care about it, but something tells me Russ will get every dollar that he can.
I totally understand why some Kings fans would feel like, wait, if they play Westbrook and one of my favorites like Keon doesn't get minutes,
right,
it'd be disappointing. I understand that, but we'll just have to
wait and see.
I'm just checking real quick to check what you had suggested earlier.
Please.
Has there ever been an NBA MVP who played for the Sacramento Kings?
Sacramento, I can't think of anybody.
I don't think so.
I mean, we know the names of the MVPs too, so it's, again, it feels like something that would stick out.
I just want to double check, make sure there wasn't somebody that I was missing.
Has there even been anyone close? Like, have they been, like, infamously, Tim Duncan almost signed with the Orlando Magic? Like, have the Kings ever been kind of close to signing I know this isn't true, but like Kevin Garnett in his last year of his career or something.
The only thing I can think of anything like that is that Iguodala supposedly was flirting with the Kings, and he was a Finals MVP. That's as close as I can come.
It's close.
That's
It's
as
close.
as I can come.
It's probably as close as we're gonna get. Yeah. I mean, it's and even Vince Carter, I guess, can be thrown into the mix here.
Yeah.
Of like, again, I think the narrative, at least, that you just straight up can't get people to come to Sacramento because it's a small market or because the team sucks or the organization's a joke or any of that. Like, it feels like from a narrative maybe perspective, now would be the time in which it would be less appealing or least appealing for a vet to come here. And you can even throw DeMar choosing to stay here in Sacramento almost as him giving a cosign that, it's not super terrible here. Like it might not be super ideal, but it's not hell on earth.
Though I guess last year kind of was. I think
felt
it was
like
Rudy
it at
Gay,
points.
supposedly, who said,
"Oh yeah,
basketball hell."
Yep, absolutely.
And I
George
guess at
Karl,
times
Hall of
last year it was.
It definitely felt
At
like it. It
times.
felt very similar. Very, very similar to just like one of those everything that can go wrong will, and by the time the season ended, I think everybody was just hoping or praying for the day that it would end.
I think I was talking to somebody who's been around the Kings for a long time, and I mentioned Rudy Gay said it's basketball hell, and I think this person said, "Oh, a lot of people have said that about Sacramento." I was like, I hope not.
I something would tell me that it's true, and something tells me that maybe somebody told Rudy Gay that before he got there, and that was how he was introed to Sacramento.
Bant of the Young, all new season of the Tank Commandos, starring Russell Westbrook. This is the opposite of what you do if you're tanking.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, Russell Westbrook's the kind of guy who would actively keep you from tanking. He would win you games at the end of the season because he's still trying when you shouldn't. It definitely does. I know you had Matt on yesterday, double down on the thought of these guys really trying to be competitive and like really trying to.
You were partially responsible for that.
I'm
right?
like incredibly responsible for that. In a way that I almost wish I wasn't. But yeah, it was quite a day.
You were the videographer,
editor.
I'm going to say producer.
I pretty much did. I mean, Matt made the song, and kudos to him. The song in itself is its own set of art, but that music video was certainly a day that I will not forget. That's for sure. It's Southside Park. Also, I heard you guys wondering what park we shot that.
Yeah,
at.
we got
Southside
that.
Park.
Oh, okay.
Southside Park in Sacramento.
All right,
like one of the best parks to ball at for sure.
Well, like Jay said, this, if nothing else, gets this season off to an interesting start, a very interesting start.
The Kings always know how to make things at the very least entertaining, or maybe not entertaining. Interesting is probably the better word. With Keegan being out, with the Russ news, and just the general questions. Like, I can't remember the last time, and it really does stem from them just not having a true team on the floor identity, but I don't know what to even expect. And it maybe is part of the reason why I guess you could say I'm optimistic, is just truly, like, I have no expectations for this season. I think that there's a world in which I vocalized, I think they could be decent. I think they could be borderline good and fun to watch. But I totally can see how this team is a collection of pieces that don't fit together. It's an older roster.
Definitely.
Keegan would have been a piece that I would have said is irreplaceable if he goes down for any period of time. That has happened. If Domantas Sabonis misses 10 games, that could be even more devastating than Keegan going down. So
if you have Sharch in the lineup and Westbrook and DeRozan, you may have the oldest lineup.
You might be Golden State. You really might be Golden State's Steph, Draymond, Jimmy, and Al Horford. I mean, you are talking about Russ in year 18, DeMar in year 17, Schroeder's 32, Zach is 30. All of those guys are at the least over 30. And the problem is you're not in a situation like Golden State. And I think that's where long-term a lot of the frustration also stems, is you have a lot of guys who are 30 or much older than 30, and you're in this 8 seed. You're not building towards youth. You're not, even if you do make the playoffs, it's not as if, I heard you guys talking about this a bit yesterday, like you can say it's great, Keegan Murray's getting playoff reps. Neat Clifford early in his career is getting playoff reps. But are they getting significant playoff reps? Like, they're going to be there. They might be in the rotation. Keegan obviously will start, but it's not all playoff experiences is created the same, right?
That's a fascinating question. This is the first time in the history of the Sacramento Kings where a lot of people have said, if you make the playoffs and you're out in the first round, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
That's never been said before.
No, never in the history of ever.
Yeah, I don't know how you
in
feel. I think
Sacramento.
Jay and I both feel like, I think if it came to that point, most of the fan base, the
They would
vast
be
majority
excited.
would be energized.
They would definitely be energized. They would definitely be excited. And I think that's the one thing that just people, I get it. It's emotions. The team hasn't played yet. I understand why they're not excited, but I think they're discounting how much they would care if
I
things
would guess
start
so,
to even
yeah.
remotely feel like they're going in the right direction. And I do think part of it's probably for that storyline to play out, it's probably in the Kings' best interest for fans to be where they are now, because we've seen when there is a level of expectation, that's where you get disappointed. Maybe it's best for fans to kind of be reserved, be cautiously, not even optimistic.
Under promise, over deliver. Yeah.
100%. And that's how you get more fans in the building. Now, there's going to be fans that, of course, are just going to stay where they're at and be upset all season long. But I do truly believe, especially knowing Sacramento, and I was going to Kings games when they were winning 22 games at Arco Arena, and that place, at least the lower bowl, would be 70% full. Like, fans will show up if the team is anywhere near hovering 500.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the bleakest days of the Kings, they just didn't have the money. They legitimately had owners who did not have the money to stack up with other teams. That is really not an issue now. And I know people quibble with the reluctance to dip into the luxury tax, but they have money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they do spend it to an extent, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're not willing to go into that luxury tax or into those aprons. You can maybe argue rightfully, like, where has been the team that is maybe being team, but what has been the team that has been justified, or the players that have been justified to make that leap, especially with all of the downside of it. So, yeah, I mean, they have done all they can to touch that line as close as you can get. So it's not even as if, again, they're not wholesale just not spending money.
Right.
They are spending money just to a certain point.
Yeah, and I think an interesting question here is from the basketball standpoint, well, what does this say about how they feel about the point guard position? Were they feeling like it wasn't what they were hoping it would be, or were they planning this all along? So we'll talk about that when we come back. Also, Law Murray from The Athletic's going to join us. We'll see what he makes of all of this as we get ready for the Kings and the Clippers preseason action tonight on Sactown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When I was a kid, I remember my dad, a lineman, leaving in the middle of the night. Families were depending on him to get their power back on to keep them safe and warm. Watching him taught me that this work isn't just about wires and circuits. It's about people and the trust they place in us when the lights go out. That's why I started Maverick Electric Heating and Air, to carry on that same promise of showing up, doing it right, and protecting families when they need us most. Visit callamaverick.com.
This Sactown Sports 49ers report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. The 49ers lose in Tampa Bay on Sunday 30-19, but far worse for San Francisco. They lose their all-pro linebacker Fred Warner for the season with a devastating broken and dislocated right ankle. San Francisco comes home to take on Atlanta for Sunday Night Football. You can catch all the action beginning at 4 o'clock right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
The statewide special election is November 4th. All registered voters will receive their ballot in the mail. Check to make sure you're registered correctly at elections.saccounty.gov or call toll-free 800-762-8019.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Amateur players will be pleased to know that the USGA doesn't object to a friendly bet with your weekend foursome. Friendly bets include soft drinks after the round, hot dogs at the turn, or even a $2 Nassau, one of the most widely used bets in golf. It takes its name from the Nassau County Country Club of Glen Cove, Long Island, one of the many clubs frequented by the well-to-do in the late 19th century. As the story goes, matches between these clubs were often reported in the local newspapers, sometimes to the embarrassment of wealthy industrialists coming out the loser. The Nassau captain J.B. Coles Tappan then devised a format where the worst possible result could not be reported as anything more than a 3-0 defeat. In a Nassau, 3 equal wagers are placed on the first 9, the second 9, and 18-hole total. A $2 Nassau is sometimes referred to as a 2-2-2 bet. Some play better with a bet to keep their attention, others are nervous at the thought of losing. Whatever your choice, golf is a game, have some fun. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sactown Sports 1140.
Live and local, it's The Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Before we get to our special guest, really quickly here, this, I think, speaks to where we are as a fan base today. In the YouTube chat, Manny Too Legit. Did you guys know Keon will be at the Galleria for a meet and greet this Sunday? Pretty cool, right? Scotty Pop says, ask him how he feels about having his minutes cut for a 36-year-old in a contract year.
Someone will. Someone will. I guarantee you someone will ask him it for sure.
As we get ready for the Kings and the Clippers preseason action, nice enough to join us. He covers the Clippers and the NBA, and he does so expertly for The Athletic. Law Murray with us. How are you today, Law?
I'm feeling good. I'm glad to be out on the road again.
Yeah. What do you make of what's going on here today with the news that I know we'd heard this was in the works potentially, but it's still kind of a surprise in Sacramento. What do you think of the fit? What do you think of the move, Russell Westbrook to the Kings?
Well, I can't be too surprised because anybody who has made a connection with where Russell Westbrook could.
I'm sorry. Jay wanted me to ask you to just hold on for 1 second. We have a little bit of static. We'll get it cleaned up right away. If you could hold for just a minute, Law. Can you do that, please? All right. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, all good. Yeah. I mean, I'm really fascinated to get his answer too, because obviously Russ spent some time in LA, spent some time with the Lakers, spent some time with the Clippers as well. And so, just the entire situation. And it feels like everything is kind of stemmed from his time in LA. I'm really curious just, the narratives and everything that has spun since his time with the Lakers. Mm-hmm. It just feels like there's so many thoughts about him out.
Sorry about that, Law. Thanks. You were answering the question. What do you think of Russell Westbrook as a member of the Kings at this point?
Yeah, I'm hoping my sound comes through a little bit better. So you guys got me?
Oh, hold on 1 second. Sorry. Our apologies to you, dear listener and viewer.
Yes,
absolutely. We want to make sure
we
get
want
the full benefit.
All good, and of course, yes,
Jay's working on
Jay,
it feverishly.
I very much believe that Jay will get that taken care of as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I mean, again, like I was saying, I mean, I think it's just fascinating that it feels like the narrative completely shifted. And I know he had that weird Wizards season as well, but once he left LA, and I think Patrick Beverley has really been beating the drum for it.
Mm-hmm.
Just feels like nothing has been the same from Russ's career narrative since.
All right, the count is 0-2, but like Wade Boggs, Law Murray is a great 0-2 hitter. Hello, Law. You're back with us. How are you?
Yeah, I'm. You guys don't like my headphones, so we're not gonna multitask. Y'all got my full attention now.
Oh, we appreciate that. Yeah. So how about it? How about the fit? How about the move, Russell Westbrook to the Sacramento Kings?
Yeah, so I think the thing, anyone who's been close to Russ and expressed that he'd be in the league, they always kept the Kings in mind. And I personally think that the personality fit is good. The way Doug Christie wants to have his team, like they needed some juice. I've talked about the Kings and how embarrassing that play-in tournament loss to the Mavericks was at home. Like, if I was a Sacramento fan in that arena, I would have been thoroughly upset with the performance of that team and how they went out sad, which I just did my NBA predictions for this season, and I think they will lose in the play-in tournament again. But neither here nor there. The thing with Russ is I think he's going to pick those guys up. It's an older team than people give credit for, and it's clear that Doug Christie is going to lean into that. I think a guy like Devin Carter just lost any chance of having relevant minutes while this team is at any kind of full strength as far as the guards go. I know Keegan Murray is going to be out, but Keegan Murray being out actually opens things up for a lot of those guys to play rotation minutes as is. And so the thing is, Russ is different than a lot of these guys. He's going to play hard. He's going to make the big explosive play, the big pass. He's going to push the pace. He's going to do all those things. And he is going to be focused on getting these guys who want to score the basketball their ball in their spots. My concern will be twofold. Number one, this is a team offensively with already a surplus of mouths to feed. And now you just added another guy who is, most effective with the ball in his hands. That goes with Dennis Schroeder, the guy who started at point guard for all of their preseason games to this point. Domantas Sabonis, who is one of the best passers in the league at his position. Well, he's got to have the ball. DeMar DeRozan is a guy who rarely plays off the ball. And you brought in Zach LaVine, and Zach LaVine is arguably your best shooter, and he's got to have the ball to be in a rhythm as well. And then you have Malik Monk, who is still on this team. And Russ played on the Lakers with Malik Monk, with Dennis Schroeder. Three-guard lineups was a real thing with Russ's entire Lakers tenure, and now he's ironically playing with multiple guards again. So that leads me to my other issue. Defensively, this team looks like holy hell. I just don't see how this team defends at a respectable level. I think Russ has the reputation of being an impact defender. And when he's engaged, that is absolutely the case. He's a playmaker. He's a guy who has a nose for the ball. But you have to actually, get stops on a consistent basis. And the teams that Russ has played on over the last few years have not had that good defense. I don't think that's a Russell Westbrook problem, but I do think that's a Sacramento Kings problem. I think if they're going to have these lineups where these guards get the respectable playing time that they are consummate to, you're going to be smaller, especially with Keegan Murray out to begin the season. And so I wonder how Doug Christie is going to make all that work.
I apologize. I'm getting a red flag. You want to check it again, Jay? I'm sorry, Law. Thank you for the answer. Hang on 1 second, please. We still are having some technical issues. Our apologies to Law Murray and to you, but some interesting information there, including that he thinks the Kings' defense is holy hell.
Yeah. Well, there comes that word again. It just keeps coming up today. And, I definitely think that there's a lot of credence to that. I feel like Russell Westbrook defensively, obviously you think about his athleticism and the potential that could bring on the defensive end. It just hasn't been that case in these past couple of years at all. And, especially even, somebody with that level of athleticism or even the frame that Russell Westbrook brings, you would think he could use his strength to kind of have that to lean back on defensively. And we just really haven't seen his explosive burst like we used to before.
Well, joining us now from The Athletic. And thank you, Law, for your patience. We apologize, but we appreciate it. And thank you for, I think, being the first person we've ever heard of to describe the Kings' defense as holy hell. But
I hope that's FCC approved because, there are a lot of things that aren't with how that team is put together right now.
All right, hang on, because it actually got worse somehow.
Somehow it got worse. This is
you know what? We may just have to reschedule, Jay. No fault of his, which is unfortunate. In town,
probably feels like he's on a prank show or something.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, Law, great answer. Yeah. We're gonna see how many times we can put him on hold before he just.
Where are you? Drive on over. You're in town, right?
He probably is. He probably
Come
is.
on over.
Yeah, I think we've had Law on the show when I was doing the midday show before, and he was walking down K Street and everything, enjoying town. That is something I will give. I think we've talked to Law a couple different times. He's always really enjoying Sacramento. Like every time we've talked to him before, again, normally it would be around like the lunchtime hour. always enjoying Sacramento, walking around. I know it was like one of the first thing he mentioned was good to be back on the road. So, I'm sure Law's having a good time.
That last time it almost sounded like he had an effect on him or something.
He was one of Pablo Torre's anonymous sources with the aspiration stuff going on, which also it's a shame we can't. Yeah, I would love to get Law Murray's thoughts on just that whole situation with the Clippers aspiration. All that. Oh no, there's no worries.
He made another interesting point about how Russell Westbrook is a mouth that you think of as being one that needs to be fed, but the Kings are looking at him as a distributor. So another thing about the fit that makes you go, I don't know.
Yeah, and I was looking at his numbers. If you just want to do, pure on paper, 6 assists last season, which, on paper sounds great, but he's also one of those guys where how many of those are Rondo assists, as I would call them, where it's I'm driving and I am dumping the ball right here, and there is only one option for this moment, and that is for you to go up with this shot.
It was never really my intent to pass it.
It never really was. This is just really an extension of my scoring, and so that's the part that just really does concern me with Russ. Again, just the playmaker aspect of it all. How much of it will be him feeling like this is maybe his last opportunity to get another opportunity in the NBA, and what that could lead to. Could it lead to some selfishness? The thing that I'm really afraid of isn't even really like the selfishness, the mentality of it. It's more so I just can't do mentally. I think I can do these things, but my body physically can't. And when you're as freakishly athletic as Russell Westbrook was at one point, I just think that fall off becomes that more dramatic, where you used to be able to blow by somebody. You used to be able to, run at the rim, leap, and then dish it off at the last second, but your body just can't do that anymore. And those are the moments where I really am nervous that it's going to show up in the worst moments, because Russ also has a really bad tendency of doing things at the worst possible time.
Shot selection,
just straight up decision making, like a lot of those things where it's just straight up like JaVale McGee type, what were you thinking in that moment? Those are the things that I'm really, really worried about, as his athleticism maybe can't cover up for some of the things that it used to before.
To me, Russ has been, in the later stages of his career, he's been more stubborn than selfish.
Yes.
Stubbornness is, he's a guy who's a Hall of Famer, and there's times through the years with the various teams he's played on the last few years, you can see that he recognizes this game's hanging in the balance here. Mm-hmm. Why should I let somebody else decide it? I'm Russell Westbrook.
Right.
And he has great faith in himself. I just think if he were at some point this year, soon, to decide, you know what? On this team, I'm going to be a distributor. I'm not even looking to shoot the ball. I'll penetrate, but I don't need to get many shots up. Yeah. I think he could really contribute. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%.
If he took the bad shots out of his game, you have a really terrific off-the-bench point guard.
Well, I think that's one of those things that everybody hopes for, but it rarely comes true, right? It's how many coaches have tried to say, including the most obvious, Jordan Poole, just stop taking or LaMelo Ball, stop taking these leaners and all of these things. If we could just trim the fat from your game, it would be something truly special. That's where, again, Russell Westbrook is ridiculous. He had some fat to trim, and yet this guy still won MVP and year of, the triple doubles, all those stuff. And so there's a lot there, but when you've done something for so long, I don't know why. I hope it does happen. I can't hold out belief that this year 18 is going to be the year where Russell Westbrook says, maybe I let somebody else take this shot right now. Because frankly, it's the thing it's the blessing and a curse. It's the thing that's got him here in the first place, is his, for lack of a better term, his ego, his selfishness, I guess, for, again, lack of a better term.
Stubbornness.
There you go. Stubbornness. Yeah. It's the thing that made him him. And, it's kind of the thing that you're not going to be able to do. It's the cliche in sports movies when I don't have the fire. How do I, this thing used to drive me and now that doesn't drive me anymore. And so I can't be the same player I used to be. It's kind of a similar thing in my mind for Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, his numbers are going to go down this year because he won't play against DeMar DeRozan. But that, I probably shouldn't go there. I will just say this. I really believe in that, by the way. A sidebar.
He kills the Kings
as a life hack, whether it's yourself or you're teaching a young person, or just you're mentoring someone, or you're a supervisor at work, how do you make yourself or someone else better?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things you do is look at and identify the things that you don't do well. Stop doing them. Really?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Okay, some of those things you have to learn to do better, but in the meantime, stop doing the things that you don't do well.
Well, isn't that the reason why he wasn't on a roster until today, though?
That might be.
Like, is that too many people have given it, again, like I'm looking at his basketball reference, it's after OKC, it's Houston, Washington, Lakers, Clippers, Denver. Like, that's 5 teams, all of which were at the time trying to get something out of Russell Westbrook, whether it be this guy could potentially make us a title contender or whatever. And all of them at some point said, this guy just, whatever you're talking, whatever we want him to get, whatever we want to click for him with this unit, it's not clicking. Mm-hmm. And so maybe that's part of it too, is just there hasn't been that perfect marriage. It takes 2 to tango, right? Like a player might have, hey, this is just who I am. This is what I bring. Why are you upset at me? Because this is what you signed up for. It's not my fault that you didn't properly prepare a roster or a team to fit around how I play. And so that's where it's also tough, if you want to play the blame game, like how much of Russ's situations have just not been right for him. And then the counter is, what is the right situation?
And it's not fair to expect him or anyone to separate, okay, you're a driven player, you play with great intensity, but just don't be as intense about this aspect of your game. That's really not reasonable.
Yeah, exactly. You can't pick and choose.
Yeah,
it's especially with a guy like Russell Westbrook. Again, he has no curveball. He's got no slider. That guy throws a fastball, and that's it. And that's what you're going to get, and that's what you're going to get, and you better be ready for it. And he'll blow it by you a lot of the time, but sometimes people will get a hold of him, and I think that's the push and pull that you're always going to get with Russ. But again, as he ages, I just think, as it does with a fastball, your fastball gets a little bit slower. And the second it's not hitting 97, 98, 100, and you're starting to get more towards the 93s, 94s, that thing can easily be seen. And I just think that's really the problem that I see with Russ. But that also is going to be on Doug and the Kings organization to make sure, like, we're not bringing this guy in to play 35 minutes. So they need to make sure that he's being brought in to be a backup. Obviously, health will hopefully help him stay a backup in terms of Schroeder staying healthy. But they have to make sure that there's just, again, a clear understanding across the board of what it is that we're all signing up for here, so that there isn't a potential for, Russ is a big name. You see all the national spotlight around this signing. People will have questions, and this thing could go bad if it goes bad. This thing could definitely, if Russ is a malcontent in the locker room, it could be right back to the days of our lives Kings and everybody just, turnstile of jokes for this Kings organization.
This franchise does seem to attract that kind of drama. Does. I heard Sean Cunningham was on today with Alan Stiles, and Alan asked Sean, how do you think Malik Monk feels about this news? And Sean said, he said, look, I haven't talked to Malik, but I would guess he's okay with it. But he said, I would think Keon and Devin Carter might look at this as kind of, Devin Carter, he had his option, third-year team option picked up for this year, locking him into his $5.2 million deal. Devin Carter's a really interesting player. Mm-hmm. I think where the Kings are, it's too early to give up on him. Understand there's a lot of Kings fans that aren't impressed with him. And even his summer league, he was pretty good, but he probably wasn't as good as he hoped he would be.
He would tell you he wasn't 100% healthy as well.
Yeah. In fact, he did tell us that when we talked to him media day. But I still see Devin Carter as a guy that, given where the Kings are and where they want to get to be, hey, he's potentially an asset. You need to take more time, to figure out what he is. But if you're all in on, we need Russ, and if Devin Carter's the odd man out, then this team is really focusing on winning now, and I hope they're not.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting reflection point for sure. Devin Carter definitely, to me, is on the outside looking in. I agree with you. To me, it's too early to just full sail, give up on him as a player, especially when you just look at. I just can't look at Davion Mitchell and not say this is exactly what's going to happen with Devin Carter, is that, maybe he gets a cup of coffee with us. Maybe we see some moments, but ultimately I think right now we would all agree it's trending towards Devin Carter's probably not going to get a second contract with this team. more than likely he's going to be one of those second draft guys who's going to have a moment with another team, and then he ends up in the playoffs as a reserve, and everyone says, oh, the Kings had this guy, and now all of a sudden he's a productive player. Why couldn't he have ever been this for the Kings? And so that's just the destiny that I see happening with Devin. Like, I don't think he's going to be a starter or any form of all-star conversation or anything like that, but I just think he's an NBA player. And I know we haven't seen a lot from him, so maybe that's me being optimistic.
But I think, Chris, too, to your
but,
point, I agree with you, and I think also he's a guy that if he becomes close to what he's been expected to be, he is a fit for the way you want to play.
100%, especially for Doug. Like
yeah,
the way
exactly.
that Doug wants
That's
to play
what I'm saying.
specifically.
Yes.
Absolutely. A defensive mind, and that's something he has said is I'm sure it leads to a lot more frustration than any good feelings for Devin. Is he says this situation, it should be good for me. You guys are floundering. I think Devin, you want to talk about ego or whatever it is, I think Devin definitely has that stubbornness that we talk about with Russ, where he believes he can contribute to this team more than what he's contributing right now. I just don't know if the opportunity is going to present itself, and I don't think it's necessarily his fault at all. I think it's really unfortunate that the injuries have just never allowed him to really get in my opinion, a fair shot at the rotation.
Yeah, TR says the Kings have given up on Devin Carter based on the Westbrook signing, Whitey, and Scotty Pop says Devin Carter is good as gone in my opinion. He's getting no run.
I think that's been the case before Westbrook got here, though. I mean, I think we saw the writing on the wall. You could have done the exercise of trying to figure out the minutes before Westbrook was here, and it was very clear that one of Keon, Neek, or Devin Carter wasn't going to play. And I think we all kind of assumed who the odd man out of that group would be, unless he was going. The only chance Devin Carter had was that backup point guard, those backup point guard minutes. And once that in the preseason we saw it go to Malik. At that point, the door is closed. There's no minutes for Devin Carter because he's not going to play above Neek. He's not going to play above Malik or Keon Ellis, and so that removes all the minutes at the two. Unless you want to try a Devin Carter, Bruce Brown situation, I just don't think he can play at the four or any of those kind of.
I know
positions.
last year Alan used to say Devin Carter's not a point guard, and I would say,
I agree.
well, I think he's right.
Yeah.
At the time, I said, well, we don't know yet. I'd like to see, and I think we now know based on what we saw in the summer. He's probably not. I know there was somebody said, well, you can refer to me as a scout over the summer, and said that he just doesn't lead them at that end of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talked to him, when Kyle Draper and I talked to him on Media Day about being a point guard, and he was like, I'd never played it before. Yeah. And you could tell that for him, it's like, hey, I don't know. Yeah. So, I think that's one of the things the Kings tried since Scott Perry took over. Well, can he be a point guard? Mm-hmm. That would be a really nice fit if he could be a point guard, but it doesn't look like he is that.
Yeah, and I think you and I have talked about this in the past, but point guard's one of those things, much like quarterback. I won't go as far as to say like you're born with it or you're not, but it's one of those things where you play it your entire life, and there's just an innate set of skills that you have. It's the intangibles, right? It is just the stuff that you can't teach. It
has to do with the way you see the very game.
You see the game, you think the game as well. It's knowing, hey, like this guy likes the ball in that spot, when we're running in transition or whatever. It's knowing this guy hasn't touched the ball and we need him to touch the ball so that he's actively defensive. Like, it's just things that you have to have in the back of your mind at all points. And I think you either naturally have it or you're kind of raised with those kind of things in the back of your head, or you're not. And I think that it is really that simple for me as to what is a point guard and what isn't. Like, if Devin Carter can be a ball handler to me, Keon Ellis can be a ball handler, but if you're going to ask them to full stop, as your scout friend says, run the show for a unit, I just think there's just a certain innate set of skills that you have to have, and I just don't think they have it. Now, you might be able to skate by it, but I just don't think there's a future for it.
Here's one reason why the point guard position is so critical to the Kings this year. Obviously, every team needs somebody who can run the show offensively. Everybody needs that, in the Kings feel that they didn't have it last year. But it's especially vital for them because the Kings are relying on somebody, presumably Schroeder and now Russ, to come in and do what Lonzo did briefly in Chicago with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. And they've talked about how when we played together, it was because we had that point guard.
Yeah.
And then when we didn't, it didn't work. Mm-hmm. You can go back and look up articles in The Athletic from when they were trying to figure it out, and the two of them talked about it and sitting down with each other and having meetings and trying to figure out.
Right.
It didn't work. And so how do the Kings get it to work? The hope is, Dennis Schroeder will do that.
You need that glue guy.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll work, but that's how critical Dennis Schroeder and now Russell Westbrook are to the Kings as point guards this year.
Yeah, and the pushback I would have is those guys are not Lonzo Ball. Those guys do not play point guard position in the way that Lonzo Ball does. Lonzo Ball plays the point guard position exactly how I just described. Like, he is a guy who is I was just watching his highlights from last night, as a matter of fact, with he's in Cleveland now. He's their backup point guard, and he is, I mean, he's just finding guys cutting, backdoor passes, like passes with anticipation. Like, that's not Dennis Schroeder. That's not Russell Westbrook. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean those guys obviously have made an entire career only playing point guard, and so I'm not saying those guys aren't point guards, but in terms of the style in which they play the position, it's not that natural playmaker. It's not a guy who connects connects DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine's high volume scoring and makes it all make sense within the construction of an offense for 48 minutes. I just kind of think it takes a certain kind of mentality or a certain player to make that kind of stuff work. And I just don't think that Dennis Schroeder or Russell Westbrook are necessarily the guys that I would have picked. I'm not going to say it's not going to work. I'm not saying maybe there's elements that I'm not anticipating that actually work better than Lonzo's connection, but it just, to me, it's not a natural fit.
Yeah, Lonzo, I know he's had terrible injury issues, but he is a very good point guard. That said, at this point anyway, I'm not sure what it was like in Chicago. But to me at this point, trying to figure out how Zach and DeMar DeRozan can coexist and both be effective and efficient, I think they have to figure that out.
Yes.
It's not some magic, we got a point guard now. He weighs his one and everyone's happy. And I think we've seen some in the preseason. I don't know, maybe DeMar's saving something for the regular season. But Zach LaVine's got to be the guy that maybe one of the league's top scorers this year.
Yeah.
For this team to be as good as they can be, he's got to be averaging 27 or more points a game, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. DeMar, I don't know. I think DeMar may be the one at this stage of his career, he has to make the biggest adjustment. But I think it's he and Zach LaVine and the coaches that have to make the adjustment. I don't think it's going to be the point guard waving his magic wand and, all right, here, you got the ball now, you got the ball, everybody's happy. I don't believe in that fairy tale.
Yeah, and I would think, just to kind of wrap up, I would think that the adjustment that DeMar would have to make wouldn't necessarily be one of, I have to do more. I would actually think that maybe the adjustment is I have to do less. And I think the adjustment would be Zach has to do more, but on the defensive end, because that's something that really, I was talking with, I think, Brendan about it the other day. Doug Christie's been very vocal about Zach LaVine taking defense more seriously this training camp. And it makes sense. Like, Zach LaVine is 1% athlete in the NBA. Like, it kind of feels like he should be a more impactful defender, at least being able to stay in front of guys, using his leaping ability to protect the rim to an extent. Like, there has to be something there, something more he can give, playing passing lanes, even just being disruptive on that end of the floor. I do agree with you that it's really more of a those two problem than a, we need somebody to come fix us. I think it's you two need to address what it is about that extra person, what they fill in that maybe your guys' deficiencies are.
Yeah, Chris Watkins with us today. I'll tell you another fairy tale that I don't believe in with this team. We'll do that when we come right back. Also, is this going to be a year of anger for Kings fans? I'll tell you who thinks it is. We're all over that when we come back to Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Mike Rowe here with another fun fact. If your concrete is cracked or uneven, you can actually lift it back up. Whether it's a sinking driveway, a patio, or a sidewalk, do yourself a favor. Call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys. They're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to lift your concrete slabs.
Groundworks, official foundation repair company of Cal Athletics. Schedule a free inspection.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
The deals are on now at the model year-end sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save on year-end models and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your priceless vinyl collection. Sure, you sleep on a futon because the money most people would have spent on a bed you spent on more records. But forget the fact that you can stream just about any song ever created for a few dollars a month. No, you need to listen to music in the most difficult way possible. So go ahead and get Progressive so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 and monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
For over 90 years, Hagen Oaks has partnered with the biggest brands in golf to bring cutting-edge technology to your game. Our one-of-a-kind total game fitting offers a level of experience and precision that is unmatched. From driver to putter, footwear to golf balls, our TrackMan-powered performance studios, 3D footwear scanner, and Ping's Ballnamic ball fitting kiosk ensure every piece of your gear is tailored to your swing. Trust the experts at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Total game fitting starts here.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey man, gaining weight, low energy, lost drive? It could be your testosterone. Revive Men's Health Sacramento helps men get their edge back. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations.
When men start treatment, it's not just their labs that change. You see it in their posture, their energy, and how they walk into the room. That's why I do what I do.
Call 916-619-3000 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 916-619-3000 or schedule anytime at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Coming up at 4 o'clock, we'll have another code word for you sometime in that 4 o'clock hour. Code word that could earn you our grand prize of the Kings tickets to see Kings and OKC, lower level seats, November 7th, one-night stay at the Kimpton Sawyer, $200 gift card to Revival, downtown Sacramento social hotspot. So stick around for that. That's in the 4 o'clock hour. Chris Watkins with us today. Yes. Chris, at 4 o'clock, as you know, we're going to talk to Stevie Johnson. We haven't talked much, if any, football today, but we will, because we've been talking today about Russell Westbrook on this Westbrook Wednesday.
Yes. Russell Westbrook Wednesday. He's filled it up, and it's something we've known was going to happen for, it feels like, a couple months now, but it's just, it still feels like it's the initial shock is still definitely rumbling through Sacramento, which, how crazy would this have been if we didn't know it was coming? That would have been the real interesting show in that alternate universe.
Here's another Kings fairy tale that I don't believe in.
Uh-oh.
And let me say, before I get to it, let me preface it by saying I appreciate and understand and think it's a great idea for Doug Christie and the coaches to talk about it. We're going to, pressure 94 feet. We're going to play. We're going to make people feel us defensively. Everything is based on defense, 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 defense. But to me, while I appreciate that and think it's a good idea, I have a hard time believing some of the players on this team can guard 94 feet when they can't even guard 4 feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
you can pressure
100%.
94 feet. You can't pressure 5 feet.
Yeah, no, it's a big problem. Like with DeMar DeRozan, and that's frankly where I would say I would maybe push back and say I don't even know if it is a good idea. Like I think it sounds good. Hey, pressure 94 feet, and I think maybe with some guys it's okay to give that instruction to, but to have it be your whole. And I won't say it's his whole team philosophy, but to essentially
it is one of the foundations of what they're doing.
It is, absolutely. And I think it's more of the spirit of what it means to guard 94 feet. It's the intensity. It's the not letting your guy get an inch. It's Doug's classic, make them feel you at all points. Like I think that's more the spirit of what it is. But the reality is he's saying picking up 94 feet, and I have to take it at face value. And I agree with you. Like I just don't think the player personnel is there. I don't know if it necessarily makes sense. I get it. I understand it. I think TJ McConnell definitely makes people feel better about it being a thing, but I kind of feel like it's more of a specialty thing. I think it's more for guys like Jose Alvarado, guys like TJ McConnell to kind of make your name. It makes sense for Devin Carter to do. It maybe makes sense for Keon Ellis to do. Maybe sporadically, not because he's going to be on the floor for 35 minutes. It makes sense for Dennis Schroeder to do it a little bit. I don't want him doing it the entire game. I don't know. Like I've been kind of going back and forth on how much I really want to give it because, again, I think it's more about the mentality than the actual on paper what he's saying.
I think I figured something out about that, and I could be wrong. But like you, my head's been spinning trying to figure out how you're going to do that with this roster. And, it's one of the basic principles of coaching. You want to, whatever the sport is, you want whatever you're doing to fit your players.
Yeah.
You can't, make the players fit the way you want to play necessarily. And it seems like, wow, is that what Doug's doing? But I think it speaks to this. To me, the Kings as an organization are more committed right now, long-term, to Doug and that philosophy than they are to some of the players on the roster.
Which is like almost, I hear that and say almost we need to be thinking about this team more in like a college basketball standpoint, in the sense of we are building a program here. We're not necessarily worried about winning the national title this year. Our hope is just that we can, again, to keep that in that same, like make the tournament and have it be a name that people will say, okay, we now understand Loyola Chicago is now a name that isn't crazy when you hear it and think about basketball. And I think that's maybe, again, what the Kings are getting at here. It's not so much about X's and O's or about the end of the season record. It's truly about establishing the identity, right? It's about knowing what it is to expect every single night from a King. And I can get down with that a little bit, but I think there still does have to be some sort of cohesion with the two, because right now it still does, to your first point, feel like they still are pretty far apart.
Yeah, I think they're on two separate paths, which is we're trying to establish this, and given what Scott Perry inherited, we're going to try to win some games too. Yeah. We would like to win games now. But that is not as important. As important as that is, that's not as important as establishing a foundation and a culture and a chemistry going forward. And that is built on some things that some of our veterans aren't really especially adept at doing.
Yeah, no, and that's something I will say Scott Perry has been incredibly consistent about since the day he walked in is it's about the guys that we're bringing in. It's about the character of the people. And again, I think that's the most important thing. I mean, they're literally running like YouTube ads, Instagram ads with Scott Perry sitting down in the practice facility and listing the 6 core things that make a Sacramento Kings basketball player. And so I think everything from top to bottom, the messaging is, this is, again, about identity. This is about establishing what Sacramento Kings basketball is, and it does tie in to the actual on-the-floor conversation of, like, when Keegan Murray goes down, kind of like we were saying earlier, I think they're going to go small, but I only think that because they don't have an identity to lean into. If they were a grit and grind team, I would say, honestly, it doesn't matter if they put, DeMar DeRozan, who's 6'7", on Chet Holmgren, or if they put Maxime Reynaud with Domantas Sabonis, because I know what they're going to go out there and try and accomplish and how they're going to try and accomplish it. I think the problem right now with Keegan being out is we don't know what style of play they want. We don't know, again, if they are going to try and lean and play small, what does that look like from them? What are the strengths that they have that they can lean into when playing small? We just don't know any of those answers. And so that's where it's really tough when you don't have any form of identity to predict anything, or also to, try and figure out what exactly you are as a team, because you just really don't know.
Mm-hmm. Chris Watkins with us today. As I mentioned earlier, one of the many things I appreciate about working with Chris and about Chris himself is that he's, I would say, a Kings optimist. And he says the Kings have a chance to do some things this year, maybe some things people don't expect. And that contrasts starkly with some of the things we've heard on the station today. So I was listening this morning, of course. I listen pretty much every day to Carmichael Dave and Jay Ross and Christopher Laud. And, Dave has been kind of down on the Kings.
Sure.
Yeah. He had a gentleman who called in today, and I believe his name was Ishmael, and he was talking about a podcast with Bill Simmons, and I know you heard some of this.
Yeah.
Zach Lowe was on there, and then Bill Simmons' friend, right? Was the other guy?
Yes, House from D.C.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So they were guessing over and unders win totals for all the NBA teams. When they got to the Kings, they were just like, oh, definitely way under. And they were really going off on the Kings. And one of the things that was interesting is that Bill Simmons said, I think 40 or 50 games into the season, the Sacramento fan base is going to be one of the angriest fan bases in the NBA. By the way, they were complimentary of the fans here and said, good fans, they deserve better. But what do you think of that notion that the Kings fan base, I think there's already some anger.
I was going to say.
They're as angry as I've seen them
Yep.
For an extended period, but 40 or 50 games in, will this be one of the angriest fan bases in the NBA?
Potentially. I think potentially, especially if there's not more of a youth movement or leaning more into a youth movement. I think I could definitely see frustration. And if we even start to talk about, and I think you kind of mentioned it earlier in the show, like or I think it might have been, you mentioned Sean, or it might have been Alan mentioning Sean talking about them potentially in a play-in situation being aggressive at the trade deadline and trying to maybe, again, here comes that word, double down on the success that they're having this season. That's where I could see them being frustrated, is fans being like, what are we doing? We're missing the point. We're not seeing the vision. The vision should be figuring out how the future is going to be, not trying to maximize whatever is left of what these guys are. That's where I could see frustration, confusion, Nick Clifford's minutes getting cut, maybe Keon Ellis getting traded. We know how connected this fan base is with Keon, with him not getting his extension. That could, again, maybe be a point where they use Keon Ellis as that trade chip to get in this would set people off for Keon Ellis for Kyle Kuzma or something like that. A very short-sighted, very non-long-term thinking move like that, I think could lead to frustration within the fan base. But ultimately, I think a lot of people are just going to be reserved. I think it's going to be pretty wait and see. I think the team's going to be good, not great. And so I just feel like it's going to be a pretty ho-hum. We're waiting for next year.
Yeah, to your point, I think there is one thing in particular that would really set off Kings fans. I hope it doesn't come to this. We'll tell you what that is when we come right back. Drive Guys, Sactown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Whoa. More fiber?
What?
Down here, buddy. It's me, your spoon. Constipation with belly pain still coming back.
Yeah.
Talk to your doctor. It could be irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, but Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disasters hit every day. If your home, business, or building has suffered from any disaster, SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to and letting your focus be on what's most important, your family or your business. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
The excitement of the game is here, and so are the model year-end savings at Stockton Honda, the best Honda dealer in Northern California. Score big with low payments, more for your trade, and a huge selection. Don't wait. The clock is ticking at StocktonHonda.com.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Based on the results of the study, recognized on June 18, 2025, USA Today's list of California's top car dealers 2025.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here, talking to you about my good friends at American Energy Heating and Air. Now, they're upgrading their offerings to you to include plumbing, bringing that same expertise and experience into the plumbing space. They're no longer just heat and air. They're now your American Energy Home Pros. And you've heard me talk about them for years as your second opinion partner. Now you can still get a second opinion on any HVAC service or replacement, but now you can also get a second opinion on any of your plumbing services. And when you really think about it, how do we know how much it's supposed to cost? At the very least, you'll know you're in the ballpark, and I can all but guarantee you they'll beat the price. They'll come out for free. They'll give you a second opinion. And all you got to do is give them a call, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com. Serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. American Energy, making the uncomfortable comfortable.
When I was a kid, I remember my dad, a lineman, leaving in the middle of the night. Families were depending on him to get their power back on to keep them safe and warm. Watching him taught me that this work isn't just about wires and circuits. It's about people and the trust they place in us when the lights go out. That's why I started Maverick Electric Heating and Air, to carry on that same promise of showing up, doing it right, and protecting families when they need us most. Visit callamaverick.com.
There's always more Kings talk to discuss.
And we got you covered. It's The Drive, guys.
On a Westbrook Wednesday, it's Watkins and Whitey. We'll get right back to the Kings conversation and the one thing that I think would make Kings fans very angry in just a moment. Before we do, Jay, are you ready for a 49er injury update?
Here we go.
Brock Purdy returned to practice today. First significant step in the direction of a potential return from the toe injury he aggravated in Week 4, according to ESPN. By the way, Stevie Johnson going to join us.
Purdy.
Let's see here. But Kyle Shanahan said Brock is more limited than Mac.
Damn.
So they're both still hurting. Injuries frustrate people, but Brock is handling it right, like he does everything. I know he's itching to get back, said Kyle Shanahan.
So what you're telling me is we got another week of Mac Jones.
Yeah, I don't know. Like. Yeah. Elsewhere on the injury report, Ricky Pearsall, Sky Moore, not expected to practice.
They're out.
Purdy, Kittle, and Jones. Other Niners slated to be limited are Juwan Jennings, Jordan Watkins, Dominic Pooney, Kevin Givens, C.J. West, Kalia Davis, and Renardo Green.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Doesn't stop for them, huh? It's tough. I mean, it's been that year. It's been a year from hell for the Niners for sure. I can't. I mean, last year it felt like they were hit with the injury bug pretty bad, and this year it just feels like it's been about as bad as it can. And then for the Fred Warner injury to happen on Sunday, that's the nail in the coffin for me. I mean, I know we were kind of talking about before the show, like there is still hope, I guess you could say, but it just, to me, with all the injuries, with the direction it feels like this team is going right now, you throw the Fred Warner injury on top of all of it. That just feels like the straw that has to break the camel's back.
Yeah, but Jay also sent me this, so I know you already know about this, Jay, from Jeremy Fowler. Quote, the 49ers have been scanning the trade market for pass rush options. I'm told the 49ers consider Trey Hendrickson an ideal fit for their defense if the Bengals would part with him for reasonable compensation.
Send him a 5th rounder, John.
Yeah.
I don't get it done.
An ideal fit. Ideal fit because he's hurt.
Right. He's hurt.
He got a sore hip or something.
Yeah,
he fits in already with the team. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's definitely one way to go. You get a pass rush going there, and maybe it kind of helps smooth out the rest of the defensive problems. But the Niners also tried that their Super Bowl season. Remember, they brought in Randy Gregory. Now, granted, Trey Hendrickson much better than Randy Gregory and Chase Young. To me, that was it was sound logic, but those guys really didn't make much of any impact with that season.
I know this is the conundrum as far as I can see it. Okay, the 49ers right now, they're really dealing with all these injuries, so it'd be easy to look at it and go, I don't think this is our year. Maybe you don't want to squander future assets to improve now. But then you look around at the whole league and go,
it's wide open.
We still might have a shot at something.
Yeah, no, it definitely is wide open. I wouldn't even say that it's completely closed right now. I definitely think that it's them. Tampa Bay obviously gave them a really good look on Sunday as well. But in the NFC, no one's really looked dominant. Like the Eagles look like they really struggled to pass the ball, and
it's a clown show right
Green
now.
Green Bay looks like they're kind of a couple pieces away.
Disaster in Green Bay.
Thank you. We can definitely agree on that one. I think it still is open for them. It's just with the amount of injuries that have stacked up, and frankly, too, I don't know if you want to add Trey Hendrickson to the books, too. Like the Niners already are so top heavy with all of their contracts. I don't know if that's necessarily something you would. I don't know if their plan would be long term for him, but
you'd have to re-sign him. So maybe you get him to agree to something. I know Tim Kawakami suggested that the compensation would be based on how you do and whether he resigns. That is, if he stays with you and you make the playoffs, then you give him more than you would if you don't make the playoffs and he leaves. So I don't even know if you can figure it that way. You'd have kind of a sliding scale of compensation.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I don't know long term if that's the best fit for them. To me, they're going to have a ton of holes that they need. Like Trent Williams, like that offensive line to me needs help desperately. That's something that they're going to have to address as soon as next year. I just don't know if going all in. Defensive line, you can definitely you can go in on worse positional groups than defensive line, but I don't know. It's just not really that wouldn't necessarily be the area that I would say the Niners, much like we would say with the Kings and Russell Westbrook. I just don't know if that's necessarily the itch that I would scratch right
Here's
now.
something I know no one wants to talk about, and I don't want to talk about it either, but it's something to be aware of if I'm the 49ers and I could get Trey Hendrickson and I think I have a chance for him to re-sign. I might take a long, hard look at that because with Bosa, I don't know if he can still be Nick Bosa anymore.
No,
I hope he
100%.
can, but
and for how long? Even if he can, for how many weeks in a year are you going to get him to be there?
Yeah.
It's a really good point, and having two pass rushers could be invaluable, but I think again you start to wonder about the financials
this year.
He's been really
good. He's been off the ball pretty quick.
Yeah.
And even though he didn't make that tackle on that 3rd and 14. But, I mean, we are talking about the MVP through half the season, Baker Mayfield.
Come on.
That's right.
So, that's part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, though, like you said, I mean, the NFC is wide open. I would say the entire league is wide open, and the Niners have been in that spot year after year. They have the experience to lean on where, maybe in those situations they don't have to be as talented because they've kind of been there, done that, understand how to compose themselves. They're also, if you want to be optimistic, they're getting healthy, right? Like they are
Kittle's
getting
coming back,
healthier.
I think.
Kittle's coming back at some point here. Probably, I do agree with Jay. It does seem like this week we're probably leaning into a Mac Jones game, one more before you go Brock, just because, of how we got here in the first place. You brought Brock back 1 week too early,
Well done.
or maybe a couple weeks too early. I know that one's
Because you had to, because the other guy was in worse shape.
Absolutely. And now, I don't know if you want to run the risk of maybe bringing him back again when he's not 100%, even though at this point, what percent is Mac Jones? Because that guy's knee was about to come off a couple weeks ago. He got just beaten to death on that Thursday night game, and then I couldn't believe he was able to play on Sunday. So it feels like a mess. But again, at least you can say they're getting healthier.
Turf
technically.
toe. You know what Ronnie Lott thinks about that?
Cut it off.
Exactly.
Get that thing
Just
out of
kidding.
here.
But
No.
that's probably how Ronnie Lott looks at it.
Cut it off. Come
Yeah.
on. If you're a real warrior, come on. You don't need those things. You got 5 of them. Come on.
We were just talking about the Kings and how Bill Simmons says, Kings fans are going to be among the angriest fans. This is what I think would make Kings fans really angry. I hope it doesn't come to this. It may never come to this. I think if the Kings got off to a really poor start and they were way out of contention around the trade deadline and they decided to double down on that instead of bringing in any young players or spinning off any of the veterans, I think fans would be furious at that.
Yeah.
I think there's a very good chance that they are, within hailing distance of at least a play-in spot at that point.
Yeah.
I think that's more likely. But if they had a terrible start and they're way out of it and they go, no, we still like this team, I think Kings fans would be furious.
Yeah, that would
furious.
Because that would also just be, again, missing the point. You're not seeing you're what is it, missing the forest for the trees or whatever it is. Like I think that it's very clear at that point that you don't understand or maybe aren't moving in the right direction that this franchise should be going. And I think that's it. It stems all the way from the De'Aaron Fox trade. In my opinion, the second you trade De'Aaron, your arrow is pointing down, and everything should be in service of doing that and not trying to fight against that. And to your greater point, I think anything besides fighting against the stream right now, or anything that is fighting against the stream right now, would be the wrong move and something that I do think Kings fans are fully ready at this point to explode with frustration.
I also think that's why so many Kings fans are frustrated. And some are not frustrated today. Some are very happy. But I think some are confused about, wait, what are we doing now? I thought we're getting younger and we're bringing in Russ.
Yeah, absolutely. And it feels to me like you're doing exactly what you just described. Like you might be leaning more into being competitive than thinking, even because here's the thing, we can even say it, like, you're not thinking about Devin Carter. Like, and that could already be a sign of what Kings fans don't want. Now, you can go back and forth all day on whether you think Devin Carter is the right guy to give those minutes to and if he's worth it or whatever. But I think that is, nonetheless, the Kings are doing that. They are prioritizing winning and being competitive over potentially developing a guy in Devin Carter that, like we said, he might not be a star. He might not even be a starter, but you're not even going to give him a chance to be a rotational guy. And, I don't even necessarily know if I disagree with it, because I think Doug is in a spot a little bit where you can't just run out there and win 20 games. Like there has to be some good feeling, good vibe, and can't just go right back to being the same old Kangs that you were in the Arco days. You have to try and be competitive and still, as an organization, not be an embarrassment, frankly.
We'll get back to that, but when we come back, Stevie Johnson, 8-year NFL veteran, on what's going on with the 49ers, and I'm wondering what he thinks of Tua calling out his teammates for not showing up for players-only meetings. He apologized for that today, but what does Stevie think of that? Everything else going on in the NFL, we'll find out coming up with Chris Watkins today, Sactown Sports.
The San Francisco 49ers play on Sactown Sports 1140.
Touchdown 49ers!
Every game on your #1 sports station. Don't miss the action on your local sports leader. Sactown Sports 1140.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mike Rowe here with another random fact. Those cracks on your walls aren't just cosmetic. they could mean your home is sinking. Whether it's drywall cracks, exterior cracks, or sticking doors or windows, do yourself a favor. Call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to stabilize your foundation. Groundworks, official foundation repair company of Cal Athletics.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
At Power Business Technology, we're not another big box corporation. We're your neighbors, locally owned and operated. We know what businesses like yours need, from reliable printers to high-performance copiers. We'll help you find the right solution with personal service you just can't get online. Need setup or support? We're just down the road and always happy to help. Power Business Technology, family hometown service with big-time solutions. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729 or visit us at powercopiers.com.
For 77 years, the Keys family from Naturewood Home Furnishings has been serving families just like yours and mine. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with Golf to Go. The Naturewood team takes great pride and significant effort to offer Northern California families a vast selection of home furnishings, most of which are made right here in this country. The kitchen table, which we purchased so many years ago, speaks to the enduring quality of the Naturewood product lines. We treasure memories made seated around that table with family and friends for birthday celebrations, school projects, and many late-night meals when the day just got away from us. Naturewood has provided thousands with home furnishings that not only last for generations, but also lead to everlasting memories of cherished times. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings now during their 77th anniversary sale and get started making your own brand of memories. Meet the Keys family at Naturewood Home Furnishings off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Sacramento. Buckle up. Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet is dropping one day of insane DeWalt deals on October 18th. Bare tools, batteries, and kits will be at insanely low prices. Spend $1,000 on DeWalt products and get $75 off your order instantly. Spend $100 and get a lotto scratcher with prizes up to $1,000 off your next order. That's one day only. October 18th at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet, 6701 Power Inn Road. For more info, visit fastenersinc.net. Fasteners Inc. Better tools, better prices.
What's up? We're talking to Chad Hoblet of Hoblet Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Woodland. What's happening for the Drive Into Fall event?
When it comes to getting the right truck, options are important. So this month at Hoblet, you have two options that will save you thousands. Right now, save up to $9,000 off MSRP on the brand new 2026 Ram 1500 Crew Cabs. Or you can save thousands on finance charges with 0% interest for 60 months.
I'm sorry, did you just say 0% financing? I thought those days were long gone.
Not at Hoblet. We're always looking for ways to save you money. Plus, we have Northern California's best selection of Ram trucks with hundreds of new Rams available.
Search, select, and save through their whole inventory at HobletDodge.com. Unbeatable prices, unbeatable selection. Nobody beats Hoblet, period.
$9,000 total net savings on select new 2026 Ram 1500 Laramie after $6,000 factory rebates and $3,500 dealer discounts. Rebates include $2,000 select inventory bonus cash, $500 on the job upfit, must show eligible upfit. Special 0% for 60-month financing in lieu of rebates. No down payment required on approved credit. Must have 700 plus FICO to qualify. $1,666 per $1,000 borrowed. 5% savings. See dealer for details.
Hey man, gaining weight, dragging throughout the day, losing your drive? It could be your testosterone. The team at Revive Men's Health Sacramento gets men back on track with the energy and drive they've been missing. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations, and witness to hundreds of success stories.
I've seen guys come in worn out, discouraged, and just not themselves. A few months into treatment, they're standing taller, speaking with more confidence. It's like watching someone come back to life. Like a light switch gets turned back on. When a spouse says, "Thank you, I really have my partner back, better than before," that's the moment it all clicks for me. And that's why I do what I do.
Since 2011, Revive Men's Health has helped more than 120,000 men regain their energy and drive. Start your story today with an in-clinic visit or a secure video appointment. Call 916-619-3000 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 916-619-3000. Or schedule anytime at revivemenshealth.com.
KHD HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Hammer time thrown down by the league.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sactown Sports, 1140. It's the Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Yeah, it's a Westbrook Wednesday with Whitey and Watkins and Jay. We'll get back to the Russell Westbrook conversation in a moment, but right now, one of our favorite moments of the week, Chris, nice enough to join us as he does once a week, the Pride of Fairfield and the 707.
707, what up, though?
Yeah, 8-year NFL veteran, former Bill 49er Charger, Stevie Johnson. How are you, Stevie?
I'm good, family. Good to be on with you guys another weekend. Some more football to talk about. It's interesting. It's getting balanced around the league, huh?
Yeah. Can you, we rely on you to tell us what's really going on, but after beating the Rams, 49er hopes were sky high, and then Fred Warner gets hurt, and the sky seems to be falling. Stevie, can this 49er team, without Nick Bosa, without Fred Warner, with both quarterbacks hobbled, can this team still find a way to make the postseason?
You know what? This team actually can still find a way to make the postseason. It's just about switching things up. This league is about next guy up. We all know that injuries are bound to happen at some point, and this is something that the 49ers have dealt with year in and year out. So guys are prepared to step up. I think is going to go far? There's still a trade deadline open, so you can still make moves. And I'm hearing George Kittle's coming back, so that's going to take a lot of pressure off of Mac 10 and be able to push that offense forward going throughout the season.
Stevie, I'm curious. A lot has been made of Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne, that kind of previous relationship that they had from New England. I'm just curious from your perspective, like how much does that actually come into play when whether it be, from a previous stop or even I think the more common instance is more of like, hey, backup quarterback and this receiver was kind of running with the twos as well. And so they just have some chemistry there. Like how real is that and how much of it is just kind of more of a talking point and something that's convenient when it actually happens?
Yeah, good call. Yeah, it's actually something that's comforting, more so than just two good athletes that's working together and building chemistry. Those two have comfort together. So Mac doesn't have to make a guess about, okay, will my guy Kendrick be there in this situation? We've been through those situations already in the past. So, it builds that type of comfort and chemistry naturally. And it does make a difference, especially times like this, going into a new location. It's like, hey, when you go to a new location, you feel like it's just you there. But when you got somebody that you can bounce things off of, especially as a receiver, as a quarterback, it's a great feeling for a guy like Mac Jones in this situation with a 4-2 49ers.
Stevie Johnson with us. Stevie, I want to ask what you would do here if you were an offensive coordinator. And by the way, I don't believe there are any African-American offensive coordinators in the NFL currently.
Really?
There's defensive coordinators. I don't think there are any, and the league needs to address that. But Stevie, if you were an offensive coordinator, if you're playing the 49ers, how would you attack them given that Fred Warner's no longer in the middle of the field?
If I was a coordinator, you got to continue to run the ball. I think that's the main thing in the league. That's the secret sauce. If you are able to run the ball, or if you have a talented athlete, which most of these teams do have nowadays, you use deception, lining up players different places. The same way the 49ers would attack opposing defenses with McCaffrey, it's the same thing that I would do to our 49ers, considering they're depleted on the defensive line right now with a star Bosa and, the heart and soul Fred Warner being out. You got to test those next guys. You got to run at them and see if they can pass the test or not. And from there, we'll see how the game may play out.
Stevie Double J, Juwan Jennings said he came out this past week and said that he's playing with 5 broken ribs and a few other injuries. As a wide receiver, you've talked about playing with some injuries. I believe you said a torn hamstring or something that you told us a week or two ago that you still continue to ball. How is it playing with 5 broken ribs? And you said you even jumped back on the field and kind of jumped in front of it, and you probably should have sat out.
Yeah, that was your shoulder, wasn't it, Stevie? You hurt your shoulder?
Yeah, so that dislocated shoulder, and you can pop the shoulder back in, and then you get the band, and then you can keep it at a certain angle, but you can still play. With broken ribs, okay, I got to see how real that is. I'm not, saying that he don't have broken ribs. Maybe they are tougher nowadays, but I had a slight fracture in my ribs and I could barely sneeze, and it was difficult. So I did have a slight tear in my groin though, and that I played through that because you can obviously wrap that up, and there's ways that you can compensate. to not tear it all the way through, which ultimately ended up tearing. No, I didn't play on the torn hamstring. My hamstring just tore in the middle of, running the route and things like that. But that's playing on an aggravated hamstring, which is something that the Baltimore Ravens are dealing with in their fan base with Lamar Jackson, and that hamstring is aggravating. It's one of those things where you shouldn't be sitting out, but you actually need to sit out and rest, because that is just going to get worse as the game go on. And yeah, hats off to Juwan though. He's a tough guy. He's one of those guys that I've been watching since Tennessee. I thought he should have been drafted higher. I'm for him. But when I heard 5 broken ribs, I was like, okay, these dudes are built different nowadays.
5 though? That's the whole rib cage, man.
Yo,
how many you got? How many ribs do you have?
Man, I'm telling you, they build different nowadays, because I fractured my lower back against the Cleveland Browns. I couldn't even go. I had to just sit out the game. It was too much. But yeah, hey, more power to them boys these days. I want whatever they get, whatever they eat.
It's called a check, man.
I definitely want that. Hey, respect to Stevie even for just being casual and saying, I just casually played through a dislocated shoulder. Even that's like, to say that casually. Come on, man. Like, give yourself some shoulder.
There's so much. Even with the 49ers, so I'm playing. About Kaepernick. Kaepernick had that thing on him. He was throwing that rocket launcher.
100 miles an hour.
So I broke my finger pregame against the who was it? Maybe the Rams or it was the Seahawks game. And I broke my finger catching his pass. Like, the bone was on top of the other one, brother. It was crazy. And it was like they just popped it back in, and I ran to the back. But it was like one of them things where, like, you can't sit out because Ronnie Lott freaking tore his finger off. And I'm on the Niners. I can't be associated with the guy that broke his finger and didn't play that game. My fantasy owners would have been pissed off. So, I mean, you gotta get through it, man. You gotta get through it somehow. So,
that's the wrong kind of peer pressure right there, man. That's the wrong kind of peer pressure. Well, Stevie, I'm just curious too, like, as we're talking about injuries and, just dealing with everything this NFL season, like, how tough do you kind of look at the situation that Cincy's in right now, and more specifically Joe Flacco, where, we saw Josh Dobbs a couple of years ago with the Vikings show up and have a great game, but, they're pretty much saying, like, we need our season to be saved. Whatever's left to be saved of our season, we need Joe Flacco to come in and learn the offense as quickly as he can. Just like, how tough is walking into a situation like that, what's going on in Cincy?
Man, that's a great question, because I'm going to give you both sides, honestly. So you thinking about a Super Bowl, it might be unrealistic. So you got to keep that hope and keep going throughout the season and week by week, answering questions, being hopeful and all that stuff, because anything can happen. However, I would look at it as a challenge now to make the most of it. We got to make the most of what we have now. We might not get to the Super Bowl, but what if we did lead the league in offensive categories, because we're not trying to be perfect. We just want to get the ball out to our playmakers. But anything can happen. That's just the way that you got to attack this now as a Cincinnati Bengal player and a fan. We know Lombardi is tough to get to, but you can still make the most out of the season and turn some heads. Maybe you're the spoilers for these teams that's prominent. So I would take it as a challenge.
Stevie, as you know, Stevie Johnson with us, as you know, the 49ers have had troubles running the ball, and the offensive line has not been good, and the offensive line has been injured. I don't think the 49ers want to blame the offensive line. So I know John Lynch has said, well, part of the problem is we got backup wide receivers, and they're not blocking downfield and as well as the other guys, and that's why we're not popping long plays. I can't believe that's really the biggest problem, but can you speak to that as a wide receiver, how important a wide receiver blocking is in a running game, especially in a Kyle Shanahan system?
Yeah, for sure. It's the most important thing, because if you can run the ball, you can control the clock, you can control the time of possession, and obviously you can pop those long runs. To talk about them conversing about, hey, we need to pop. That's kind of crazy, because you can't have big runs all the time. And yeah, it does help when the wide receiver blocking down the field more. It helps it out. But all you need is 4 to 5 yards.
Yeah.
And the 49ers can get 4 to 5 yards, and that's good enough. Now it's just about when do you utilize it and how you're utilizing it. The big runs to pop off at the end, that's more so hustle plays. And Either you got it in you as a receiver or you got to have it built in you through coaching and constantly being told to stay on your block and keep going. And I don't think that's really a big issue. Yeah, I think they're cool.
Kyle's thing is no block, no rock, Stevie, as you know.
No blocks?
No block, no rock. You don't block, they don't throw you the ball.
Yeah, for sure. And that should be taught from Pop Warner all the way up. You got to have a receiver that can do it all. Mm-hmm. It's only beneficial to the offense. Any receivers out there listening, if you think you're not going to be successful on a team, I mean, look at the Super Bowl champ last year. They had a running game, and that's what you need in your offense. You will make the plays too, A.J. Brown. You'll get your time. You'll get your shot. But the running game is important. That's like the extension of the quarterback. He's right next to him, Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you got to block.
Stevie, one of the things that, of course, the 49ers are dealing with is we talk about injuries, and you recap some of the injuries you've had. Is it really next man up in the locker room? Like, I'm asking you because if nothing else, I know you'll be upfront and real like we are here on the Drive, guys. Do you guys look around, like Fred Warner goes down, you look over at Nick Bosa, and of course, these guys are your teammates, meaning your Terry Gross-Matos and backup D-ends and backup to Bethune. And are you really guys looking like, next man up, or like, damn, this is over with?
Hey, look, if they think in the latter half of that, then the management, that's on the management, because you didn't prepare the roster for a season of the NFL where the Warriors are fighting against Warriors, So yeah, that's management talk. But no, I think players, they don't. Okay, we were just talking about Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati, they can be saying like, dang, like, yeah, it's a wrap, as far as Lombardi talk. But the 49ers are actually in a different situation, than the Cincinnati Bengals. That's a good question because like, guys do look like, oh, bro, like Fred out, like, nah, this like
it's over. It's over.
Yeah, but you don't know, because when you go through these training camps and you see these practices of the guys that's maybe coming downhill and making those plays, you don't really pay attention to it because the Fred Warners are healthy, But now, if you had that player developing, yeah, you go see next man up, and that's gonna be a success conversation, as opposed to they weren't even ready, And management got to do something about this, because you just put all your eggs on Fred Warner to go through an entire season and not expect no injury at all, and he's a linebacker, a physical linebacker at that, and an athletic linebacker. You got to be prepared.
Love it. That's real. That's honesty right there from Stevie Johnson too. Stevie, I got to ask you about your other team in Buffalo. They've lost 2 in a row here, and now they have their bye week. I know a lot of people all year, the conversation around Buffalo was that they have a lot of number 2 receivers and don't really seem to have they really could use you out there for sure. It's just as we kind of are talking about Cincy and maybe them giving up on their Super Bowl goals, like, is it kind of tough for Buffalo? And this is more just from your perspective, not necessarily what they're feeling in the building, but it's got to be tough to kind of look at that receiver room and feel like that's going to be good enough to potentially get them over the hump, right?
Well, when I look at the receiver room, they're good enough. When I look at every receiver room around the league, all those guys are good enough. It's just about the system that they're in. How are they getting the ball? How are they getting the rock? If you look at the 49ers room, it's like we have injuries also. They have backups playing. However, their backups is getting 100+ yards. They getting targets. They getting opportunities. Right. When you look at the Buffalo Bills, their main target was 3. Well, the highest catcher in the game last primetime game was 3, and then the second highest was 2. And that guy who had 2, he only played 1 quarter. So all those guys are able and they're athletic enough. However, if they're not getting the ball out, it's going to be difficult for the Buffalo Bills. So with that group, they need to adopt a West Coast offense like the 49ers, to built-in hot routes, quicker release, utilizing McCaffrey, utilizing James Cook, similar ways. All these wide receiver groups are good. It's just how you utilize your playmakers.
Stevie Johnson with us. Stevie, I've talked to baseball players about this. I talked to Dave Stewart about this years ago, but I've never asked a football player. Football players now in the NFL, they're wearing more throwbacks and alternates than ever before. Do players care what they wear? I mean, are there certain uniforms where you're feeling like, look good, you play good?
Damn right, Whitey.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering, are there ever some of these uniforms you got to wear where you're like, man, I
look bad, play bad.
Yeah.
Man, hey, look, I feel like the one time where we cared was when the Bills came with the new uniforms and we had like a white strap around the neck and it stopped here and it kind of looked like the old cowboy collars. And that was something where I heard people like, man, why we got this on the back? But as athletes and as guys that feel like we are it, I mean, we gonna try to make anything work. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't matter. Plus, if we did say something about it, they didn't care. We have to, or you're getting fined. But I got fined for a lot because I always mix stuff up.
See, so basically you cared. You're like, I'm gonna accentuate my gear.
Yeah, and they got me every time. Hey, every time. You gotta debate it though and send it in.
What's that one time that FedEx envelope hit your locker and you were like, oh,
you know about it.
Yeah,
yep,
come on, brother. You know I know about it. What's the one that you were like, yeah, that's a little too much?
For the socks, they tried to fine me like $7,500 for having socks midway up my leg. It's like, what? It was crazy because we had a 3 combination where it was a red at the top, it was white, and then you can have like a black. But I had the white all the way up. You know what I mean? And they tried to fine me $7,500 for a code of conduct. I was like, this is why so serious was being developed then.
I want to ask you one more thing. Tua was calling out his teammates for not being at players-only meetings. And a lot of people said, wow, that should be kept in-house. He actually apologized and said, I shouldn't have brought that up. This was after they lost, and he called out his teammates. Is that the type of thing, you being a former player, is it the type of thing that, probably should be better dealt with just within the confines of the locker room?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, with him saying his apologies, he understood he made a mistake. Everybody make mistakes. Definitely shouldn't have done that, considering we know what he was trying to do. He being pressed. They having a tough season. He's always being questioned. Who knows how the question was even asked. Yeah. But you definitely can't do that because that's bro code, and you know that. You gotta know that. But yeah, we've all made mistakes before, and it's good to hear him come back out and own it because he didn't even have to do that either. But it'll help him out for later on.
Oh, yeah. Joined by Mr. Himothy himself. Stevie, I look at, we were talking about records, and the NFLs, we were having a discussion earlier in the show, seems to be wide open, especially in the NFC. Really, Tampa's kind of separated themselves, but beyond that, you kind of look around the standings and you pay attention. Do guys in the locker room pick up, no longer the newspapers, but do you pick up your phone and look around and be like, oh, yeah, Washington 3-3, we 4-2? Yeah, we in good shape. Do you guys really keep track of that as much as possible?
Scoreboard watching?
Yeah, you scoreboard watching?
Yeah, we do. I mean, they tell us all throughout the facility, what's going on with teams' records and what's going on with players. Like the scouts, they do excellent at observing other teams and bringing that info back. But yeah, we definitely also have our downtime in the locker room where we get on social and we seeing what's going on, what's the talk, what's the extra fuel, extra motivation. And yeah, that's the fun part of it. That's the outside world, especially nowadays, is more prominent to, be in the media and be conversing with podcasts and stations like ours. So yeah, there's players that look at it, and then there's guys that don't. It's all type of players in this league, but I think that's the fun part of it. That's how I came up in the league.
Well, it's always fun talking with you, Stevie. We appreciate it. Enjoy the games, and we'll talk to you next week. And we're glad your finger healed up after calling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was crazy. Shout out though to the game.
So, what you got, a green screen in the back, man? What you got doing? You bowling alley? What's up back there, bro?
Yeah, next time I'm gonna have to bowl for y'all.
Oh, my boy got a bowling alley back there. I was like, I see you.
Yeah, wow. It ain't on right now, but I'm gonna have to bowl for y'all.
Man, you ain't got no strikes in that right hand no more, man.
Man, I got all the strikes for you, man.
What you throwing, a 7? What you throwing, about a 10-pounder?
Man, no, I got 11. I got a 14 here. The 15 is really go down there hard.
Yeah. What's the highest you done threw?
15.
What's the highest you've ever bowled?
Come out to San Diego though one time. Maybe if the Kings playing Clippers or something.
All right.
Might have to get y'all out here, man.
Yep.
We have a little bowl-a-thon going on.
Oh, I say that sound like a competition right there.
Yeah,
We're driving guys and Stevie J, man.
Yeah. Thank you, Stevie.
Yeah.
Appreciate
all right, one love, teammates. Next time I'm a bowl for y'all.
All right.
Say no more.
That's a promise.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Stevie. Did you see? I was like, oh, Stevie must throw him about a 278 back there.
Got a couple lanes, right? Yeah. Oh, here he goes.
Yeah. Jay, it's crazy, too. I know you definitely know way more athletes than I do. Like, athletes love bowling.
Yes.
I don't know what it is about it because I can't stand it. It's boring to me.
I'm with you.
I suck at bowling
I'm
also.
with you.
Like, professional athletes love it. And it's crazy because it's probably the least athletic, quote unquote, sport you could play. Like, it's just throwing the ball down. It's a hobby. It's 100% a hobby. It's just so strange to me. I guess it's maybe the chill nature of it. It's, you're not thinking about a million things as you're doing it. But for some weird reason, it seems like every professional athlete loves bowling, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it must have something to do with just that hyper-competitive drive.
I'm sure. Right. Yeah.
Bowling.
Right. Yeah. It's something to compete over. And, it's anyone can get the work, I'm sure, is what Stevie would tell you. Is that kids, adults, grandmas, it don't matter. It is equal opportunity in bowling, and I'm sure maybe to your point, that's what they like most about it.
You know the show about the Lakers that they took
Showtime,
off?
or Winning Time, I think it was.
Yeah, and it was based on a couple of books.
Yes.
And in one of the books, I read the books, and in one of them, they talk about when Bob McAdoo was on the Lakers. Mm-hmm. And Bob McAdoo was just like so competitive, like anything anybody could do is like, I could do it better than you. And so they teased him about bowling, which he'd never bowled. He's like, I'm the best bowler on the team.
One of those Anthony Edwards kind of guys.
But he meant it. It's like, I'll beat anybody on the team in bowling. He'd never bowled before.
Yeah, of course. I mean, but we all knew those guys, right? Growing up, like they're a dime not a dime. I shouldn't say a dime a dozen. They are in every local town possible. Is that one guy who's just the natural freak athlete in your class who, oh, wait, this kid all of a sudden plays soccer too? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
And obviously there's massive levels to it, but it's incredible. I wish I had that skill. I have a little bit of it. I like to think I'm a jack of all, master of none with sports, but to be a master of all sports is truly like that's where you understand where these guys get their ego from.
And then speaking of how different athletes are, like, I dislocated my shoulder, but
come on,
I broke my finger, but I had to play.
What are we talking? And then I saw Julian Edelman comparing, broken fingers with another ex-NFL player, and they all have, it's all leaning to the left, and half of it's dangling off, and it's like, that's where you forget. It humanizes these guys for sure, but it's like these are real life injuries that they're dealing with, and I can't. Stevie's talking about he had one cracked rib and couldn't sneeze, and it's like that's real life. Like that is what I'm talking about. It's like we talk about Juwan Jennings, what a warrior, or Mac Jones, what a warrior he is for fighting through that Thursday. He probably couldn't walk up the stairs that Thursday night to his house.
Did you see Stevie's finger?
I didn't.
Did you pay attention to the camera?
I saw him.
It was 45-degree angle, baby.
A little askew.
It was askew.
It was an out route.
Yes, sir. Yeah, up and out, baby. Curl route.
So, just run this right here.
It's a great point you make because when you for whatever reason I don't know the proper word, but I'm gonna say we forget that players are really human, and when they have to go get a surgery, like Keegan Murray, he had to travel to New York and then get surgery and then stay there and then come back. Like that's a lot.
And I know
think about that. That's
I know
a lot.
We're pressed on a break too, but it's like the recovery process.
Yes,
that's the one. Like Brandon Ayuk, I always point out, he's like, man, they're saying I'm gonna come back week 6. I can't walk. Like, what are you talking about? I can't even think
Fred
about.
Warner just had his surgery.
Yeah, did you see his wife post?
I did.
No, and how many? We've all unfortunately had to go to the hospital at erroneous times, and she's at the hospital and she's posting, and you're just looking like, I've been there.
Yeah.
You know, I've been there at 3 a.m, and we all know the feeling of like, no, why am I here at 3 a.m?
Well, like you said, especially when you don't, like they started that day not expecting
Correct.
it to end with Fred Warner having surgery that's going to end his, just the real life element of it is crazy.
Matt Barrows wrote today that teams, the 49ers anyway, they don't typically take injured players with them because they don't want them flying because that can,
and all
yeah.
that, yeah.
And also they don't want them, depending on how much room there is in the locker room, they don't want them on the sidelines because they don't want them.
Really?
They don't want someone running into them.
Tripping
so
over
they
their
typically
ankle or
don't
something.
take injured players with them on the road, although they might make an exception for Fred Warner because he's like a coach.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Just to wrap up, like I know Jason Tatum too, you mentioned the injury thing and the travel element of it. I know a big part of the reason why they are so optimistic he can come back this season is because he tore his Achilles in New York, had surgery that same day, didn't have to hop on a flight or anything, didn't really have time for the Achilles itself to swell up. And, usually you have to wait for the swelling to go down before you actually have surgery. So it's just interesting that too, the travel element, all of it does play a factor into the recovery, into the injury process in total.
Russell Westbrook is a king. What does it mean? How does it help? And why did they do it? We're back with that. Watkins and Whitey and Jay, Sactown Sports.
The Drive Guys, weekdays 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
On Sactown Sports 1140.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Remember when they used to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? At Bank of America, we ask every day, what would you like the power to do? When you work here, you help build businesses, inspire communities, and forge legacies. And now we've raised our U.S. minimum wage to $25 an hour. So the opportunity to do more also comes with competitive pay. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/25. Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Hey everyone, it's Kyle Draper here. If you're in the market for a new car, let me tell you about my experience with Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. From the moment I walked into their state-of-the-art showroom, I knew I was making the right choice. There was no pressure from the sales staff, and if I'm being honest, I felt like a kid in a candy store. I settled on the all-electric EQS SUV, and let me tell you why. First of all, the comfort. After a long day at work, I actually look forward to being in my car. It has several different massage settings, including my favorite, hot relaxing back. Plus, the seat heating and cooling features are perfect for the hot summer or those chilly mornings. Mercedes-Benz has the reputation of making the finest cars in the world. Now it's your turn to experience what I already know. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is the best car buying experience you'll ever have. They're just a short drive down I-5, or you can shop online anytime at mbofstockton.com. That's mbofstockton.com, and tell them Drape sent you.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Born in 1892 to a socially prominent family, she was the consummate athlete, proficient in golf, tennis, marksmanship, swimming, and car racing. Many considered her the greatest horsewoman of the century. She was a pioneer in the field of golf course development with 3 world-class courses on her resume: the Women's National Golf and Tennis Club, Cypress Point, and Pasatiempo. Working for SFB Morse of Pebble Beach fame led to her second golf course development which many consider to be the greatest golf course in the world, Cypress Point, where she developed a lifelong friendship and professional relationship with famed architect Alistair McKenzie. Pasatiempo in Santa Cruz was her third development, where she hosted the likes of Bobby Jones, Will Rogers, Babe Saharias, and more. Today, her place is alongside many others in the World Golf Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Marion Hollins, a visionary golf course architect and pioneer of the game. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
The Tribe Guys powering your afternoons Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
Hey, stick around. We got some news for you. But first, Sactown Sports giving you a chance to win a pair of lower-level seats to the Kings versus OKC November 7th, one-night stay at the Kimpton Sawyer, and a $200 gift card to Revival, downtown Sacramento social hotspot. Enjoy elevated vibes, stylish crowd, and the perfect view of the beam after a Kings win over the defending NBA champions. Text in today's keyword to 916-339-1140 now for your chance to win. That's BEAM, B-E-A-M, to 916-339-1140. And
it will be lit in Sacramento.
When it breaks,
We have it first.
it's Sactown Sports breaking news.
From Shams, Sacramento Kings forward Keegan Murray has agreed to a 5-year, $140 million rookie contract extension with the franchise. Mark Bartelstein and Kyle McClarney of Priority Sports tell ESPN. Massive new deal for the Kings to lock in their 2022 number 4 overall pick through 2030-31. So again, that's Keegan Murray, a 5-year, $140 million rookie contract extension agreement with the Kings. How about that, Chris Watkins? Jay, dear listener, that's big money.
That is big, big money.
$28 million a year is the annual average.
It's very interesting. Yeah, $28 million a year. And I actually, funny enough, just went through recent contract extensions to try and figure out where Keegan's number was going to fall. And this is about where I think, if you want to do a who won the negotiations, I think Keegan Murray's side definitely won.
You ain't lying.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, right. When you make $28 million, that's winning regardless of what even the other outcome could have been. But looking at some of the other contracts, I have R.J. Barrett in 23. He signed for $26 million a year. Jaden McDaniels, $26 a year. Devin Vassell, $27 a year. Trey Murphy, $28 million a year. Jalen Johnson, $30 million. And then this past offseason, for some reason, after hearing all those numbers, it only gets higher up to Jalen Johnson's $30 million in 2025. For some reason, Jabari Smith signs for $24 million this offseason, a 5-year, $122 million extension. In my mind, when I was doing this exercise, to me, it became very clear why this extension hadn't came up yet. And it was because the Kings were probably saying, your numbers are almost exactly Jabari Smith's for their career, both at 13 a game. Keegan's at 13.3, Jabari's 13. Rebounds, pretty much the same. Keegan shoots better from 3 and from the field in general, but pretty much same numbers. I think the Kings wanted him more at that Jabari Smith number, and obviously Keegan's agent is probably saying, look at Trey Murphy's contract, $28 million, 4 years, $112. Devin Vassell, like, I think Keegan Murray is more valuable to this team than what Devin Vassell was to the Spurs. 5 years, $135 for Devin Vassell. Something tells me Keegan Murray's side was much more pushing for those numbers before this offseason versus what maybe the current market is what the Kings would argue with Jabari Smith.
And I'm wondering if this was holding up the rest of the extensions, because you had Paulo Banchero, and he had a massive extension. And then the number 2 pick, Holmgren, got an even bigger deal. And then you had Jabari Smith with a huge drop-off. And then Keegan sitting there at 4. And then a lot of the guys after him hadn't signed their extensions yet. So I think teams and agents were looking at this as like, well, what happens at 4? And I appreciate and applaud the Kings for coming through there. And Keegan wins, but I think it's a fair deal for everybody.
Right? Yeah. The Kings get their guy at least locked in for the next couple of years. And, we can have the conversation of does this ultimate, like now, especially in today's NBA, it's get the contract now and figure your actual basketball situation out later. So this doesn't necessarily mean Keegan Murray will finish his second contract or finish whatever this new contract with the Kings. But yeah, I think it's just a really, really tough negotiation. Like I don't I don't envy the Kings at all because we talked about Scott Perry and his evaluation process of this entire roster. I just don't know what to do with Keegan Murray's career so far. And then you obviously are also paying for what he could potentially be down the line. I just think because of how the Kings these past 3 years have played out, we really don't have any idea of what Keegan's potential truly is. I think there's still some people out there who think he has all-star potential. I think there's still people out there who see the Chris Middleton comparison. And I think there's some people out there saying he kind of is what he is now. He's regressed as a shooter. He's being asked to do all these things. He's a great role player, but is he necessarily a bona fide starter? Or, how much are you going to kind of figure he's going to be valued in the future? I just think it's a really, really tough number to come to. And especially here in Sacramento, we don't even know what his circumstance is going to be. Like Jalen Johnson, they knew when they signed him to that $30 million, we don't care about success. We know that we're going to give you the keys to the car. I don't think we know if we even want to give Keegan the keys to the car, but also he could definitely just be another guy that's built into the team.
I'm relieved that they came to this conclusion, that he got his deal, because I remember Scott Perry's first media conference here, and I know I've talked about this before, but one of the early questions, I think it was from Tristy Rodriguez, and she asked about Keegan, and Scott Perry said, he'll be fine, and then he went right away into some diatribe about accountability. And I remember seeing that and wondering, what's going on there? Apparently nothing was going on. But I wondered with all the things that the Kings were asking Keegan to do.
Right.
He always did it, but did he want to?
Yeah.
Was he happy with it? He had an opportunity here to maybe, did he want to stay here?
Yeah.
Did he want to maybe go with De'Aaron Fox? Well, now, I don't know what he wants, but obviously he signed up here for the long term, and I think that's great for the Kings.
Yeah, agreed. It has to be a win for the Kings.
Yeah.
No matter how you slice it, even if it was $33 million they paid him and you would have said it's an overpay, keeping Keegan Murray was a must. We talk about how bleak it is with him being injured right now, with him just not on the roster. It's not a legitimate roster. It's not you don't have no forwards at that point. You have no, obviously a big talking point from the national perspective is you have no young players to get excited about. At least those who are more so in the know could point to Keegan Murray and say, look, he's not the youngest guy, but he is at least our project that we're working on and have hope that he can take us to another level. So the Kings had to do it. I mean, even with the Jonathan Kuminga talks, all of that stuff, I think it was absolutely paramount. I don't think anything works in terms of team building moving forward if they didn't have Keegan Murray or some placeholder for Keegan Murray in that spot.
That's it right there.
It's a massive
That's it. And I've been saying it for a long time. It's the money placeholder.
Yep.
Contract slot.
Yeah, the slot, the $28 million, and in the NBA it's plus or minus $2, right? You can stay within $2 million bucks. And so I immediately, fellas, go to, okay, well, who the hell's making $30 million?
Yep.
Because I need to see $30 million of worth of what Keegan's getting ready to go. So I'll just start at 33 and down. You got Şengün, who just signed one of the rookie extensions. Chris Middleton, who's on the back end of course, his good time in Milwaukee. Jalen Green, who we won't see in the opening night here in Phoenix. Emmanuel Quigley at 32.5. Drew Holiday, a true champion at 32.4. Jeremy Grant, Jordan Poole, Tyler Hero, Julius Randle. Now we're at $30 million. So you had DeJounte, Kristaps, C.J. McCollum, Jalen Johnson, Hartenstein begins 28.5. Then you have Wiggins, Darren White, R.J. Beard, Anthony Simons, Devin Vassell, Terry Rozier, Tobias Harris, all those guys making $27 million. When you really sit down and look at it, now, of course, you can go down Miles Turner and some guys like that, Draymond at 25, Collins at 25, Trey Murphy, as you talked about, at 25, Mike Hale at 24, Jaden Daniels. When you really look at it and the number jumps off the page, it's like, man, $28 million is a lot of money. But when you start to look at some of the players,
frame it that way, there's value
there is. It's like, and
there's value.
I didn't see it that way. I didn't see it that way. So now when I take a look at, now you go above that and, 34, 35, now you're starting to get into the Kyries, Desmond Baines, Bam Adebayos, guys like that. So really mid-30s and up is kind of where you're starting to see all-stars / stars. And 33 and, man, there's some sprinkled through there, of course. There's a couple great values down at 24, 25, Mikal Bridges. Keegan's 28 isn't as bad as possible, but what it does, and I've been speaking on this, Watkins, if you haven't been here, and Whitey obviously knows this, it gives me a potential to add a filler contract of a 7, a Dario Sarge, who's at 5.6, and Keegan, and you round 34, 35. Now we're cooking with grease. Now I can pick up the phone, even though they wouldn't do it. But hey, I got Keegan for Bam Adebayo. You want to talk? It makes it the conversation a little more simpler, and that's why I think you had to sign Keegan Murray.
Yeah, I hope they see him as part of their future and they keep him around. Back with more on that and more on Russell Westbrook, the two big Westbrook questions, and the latest on Keegan's new deal when we come back to Sactown Sports.
The Sacramento Kings are geared up for the new season. Training camp competition is fierce.
He's got the two-pointer.
Download the Sactown Sports app to keep you informed everywhere you go.
One place, all your Sacramento Kings news. Sactown Sports 1140.
Progressive has great customer service, and it's easy to reach us because great and easy is the way to be. Like salads. Great for you, and so easy you can put any group of veggies in a bowl and it's a salad. A full carrot with a head of cabbage. Weird, but still a salad. 1 radish and a couple of green beans, also a salad. 14 blueberries, half an onion, and a sunchoke. Odd, yes, but an odd salad. So contact Progressive's customer service by phone, app, or online. It's great and easy, just like salad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
When I was a kid, I remember my dad, a lineman, leaving in the middle of the night. Families were depending on him to get their power back on to keep them safe and warm. Watching him taught me that this work isn't just about wires and circuits. It's about people and the trust they place in us when the lights go out. That's why I started Maverick Electric Heating and Air, to carry on that same promise of showing up, doing it right, and protecting families when they need us most. Visit callamaverick.com.
This Sactown Sports 49ers report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. The 49ers lose in Tampa Bay on Sunday 30-19, but far worse for San Francisco. They lose their all-pro linebacker Fred Warner for the season with a devastating broken and dislocated right ankle. San Francisco comes home to take on Atlanta for Sunday Night Football. You can catch all the action beginning at 4 o'clock right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-646-5454. That's 800-646-5454.
You live for this. The wins, the losses, the slam dunks, and the buzzer beaters. The dream that this is your team's year. Hope, it's what keeps you coming back. So you represent with anticipation and with pride. Because when everything's on the line, your support means everything. That's why the NBA Store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
For 77 years, the Keys family from Naturewood Home Furnishings has been serving families just like yours and mine. Hi, I'm Frank LaRosa with Golf to Go. The Naturewood team takes great pride and significant effort to offer Northern California families a vast selection of home furnishings, most of which are made right here in this country. The kitchen table, which we purchased so many years ago, speaks to the enduring quality of the Naturewood product lines. We treasure memories made seated around that table with family and friends for birthday celebrations, school projects, and many late-night meals when the day just got away from us. Naturewood has provided thousands with home furnishings that not only last for generations, but also lead to everlasting memories of cherished times. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings now during their 77th anniversary sale and get started making your own brand of memories. Meet the Keys family at Naturewood Home Furnishings off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
The Drive Guys powering your afternoons Monday through Friday on Sactown Sports.
Yeah, we'll talk Russell Westbrook, but that's old news now. The breaking news is Keegan Murray has signed or agreed to an extension with the Kings, 5-year rookie extension, 5 years, $140 million. We'll get to some of your comments. We'll get to the phones in just a moment. Chris Watkins with us today. A moment ago, I just asked Chris, hey, back when that draft was held, were you pro Keegan or pro Jaden Ivey? And Chris?
Very, very proud to say I was I was team trade the pick for Chet.
Ooh.
I was very much team, hey, you will probably never be in this opportunity again, and while you probably will have to trade a future pick on top of this number 4 pick to move up, imagine what it would take when you're typically number 8, number 9, number 10, and you would want to do that. I just thought it was a prime opportunity for the Kings to maybe their last opportunity to get somebody that high in the draft. You need a star. Also, as Kyle Ledbetter always, I love how he frames it. You need, especially with a guy like Sabonis, you need big man and tall man with a guy like Sabonis because he just doesn't protect the rim much. And so he kind of needs this Evan Mobley, Chet Holmgren to me is like the perfect prototype for this, where he just fills in all the gaps that Sabonis has. So Sabonis can't shoot. Chet, Evan Mobley, great three-point shooters or great perimeter shooters in general. Sabonis, not a rim protector. Chet Holmgren, Evan Mobley, both elite rim protectors. But both of those guys have the mobility to still play against the 4. And that's where, obviously, especially now here today, that's the really big problem with this roster is Sabonis is great, but it's so hard to find somebody who plays next to him that fills in all the right gaps. And again, my bigger point is just I think Chet Holmgren really almost perfectly to a T fills in every single gap that Domantas Sabonis has.
Yeah, you were right. We always criticize GMs for the picks they make that turn out being wrong.
Right.
And I remember at that time, I looked at Holmgren and I was scared to pick him.
You should have
been. Not that I had a chance. I was like, that guy's so skinny.
Yeah.
I don't want to take that risk.
No, he was like 150 pounds soaking wet. Like,
yeah.
And he's 7'3".
Yeah.
And so it's like,
I would have been scared off of him.
How's that frame supposed to hold up against the NBA, especially when you didn't know what position he was going to play? And
then he got hurt in an exhibition game and
broke his foot.
Seattle,
I
think.
Yeah, in a complete exhibition game and blew out his rookie season. And at that point, that's when I started to be like, well, it's probably good the Kings didn't take him because, especially here in Sacramento, I can't imagine the uproar of trading up for a pick and then he breaks his foot in an exhibition game.
In the chateau here, Martin Ramirez says of Keegan, he'll be 30 when this contract extension ends in 5 years. Clay says he looked ready that first preseason game, then took a turn for the worse. Manny Too Legit, 140 is crazy. Happy for Keegan, hoping he can succeed with the Kings to a contender, possible championship within the next 5 years.
Oh, gosh. That just triggered in me that now we're going to have to hear about how much money Keegan makes every day. Well, you guys especially. It's going to be you're paying this guy $28 million and he can't get you more than 12 points. He can't get you 4 rebounds because he's making $28 million, and I would hope so. And there is some validity to it, but it's just crazy how quickly the conversation changes from, development points. It's just great that he's doing any of these things, period, to now there's a level of expectation, and if you're not hitting it, you're a bum.
Absolutely. And you know what it's coming. It's the Harrison Barnes situation.
Yep. Oh, I hope not, but
you
I
know
think
what?
you're right.
It's you are getting paid the second or third highest. Well, he's the third, but you're getting paid the third highest on the team, and expectations have absolutely changed, and we're going to hear about it every single day. No longer can you have those games where you put up 6 points and have 5 rebounds and you only took 6 shots. Like, that's not going to work. You're going to get flambasted.
Yeah, it's like deja vu. Deja Barnes.
Yep.
It's coming.
DB.
I don't like that at all.
Deja Barnes.
Somebody said it on the text line, too, real quick, Whitey, before you go to T. I saw it, and this is immediately what I thought. You're paying for potential.
Yeah.
Yes.
You truly are.
Yeah.
You're paying to see what Keegan turns out or what he blossoms into. And now it becomes a question of, I think meaning the Kings, when I say we, the Kings have tied themselves to Keegan. I don't think they see it the way I see it in the form of keeping a pace slide. I think they see it, especially now because he's gone.
I think so.
Yeah, they see it as he's a part of this team. And now the conversation begins because I'm going to be one of those people that say, I don't give a damn about them 12 points. I need to see a whole all-around ball game. I need 20 now. I need 8 rebounds. I need absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And the excuse of, well, he's guarding the best player on the team. Nah. You're getting paid $30 million. Right? Yeah. And stars are asked to do that and score.
28,
right.
It's already started.
Get it right.
It's already started, Chris. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140 if you want to join us. TC on Sactown Sports. It's time for Check It with TC. Hey, TC, say hi to Chris Watkins.
Hey, man, Mike Check. Hey, Chris, what's going on, man? It's been a minute.
What up, TC? How you doing?
Hey, you know I'm fired up,
yeah,
bro.
We need the energy.
Hey, Chris. Hey, we ain't gonna go Niners. We all Kings, though. Everybody knows what's up. Hey, look. So check it out. The Russell Westbrook. Hey, that's a dog signing, right? We all want a dog, right? And that's that dog we're talking about. He's gonna come with that mentality and that culture that Doug Christie and B.J. Armstrong are developing here. Sacramento Kings fans. That's the part that we can't keep overlooking. The whole what he's going to bring to the court. Yeah, he's going to bring what he's going to bring to the court. We know what he's going to bring. He's going to score about 10 points, dish out about 5 assists, get about 4 or 5 rebounds, and get a block. That's solid coming off the bench, bro. What more can we ask, right? So that's why I stand out with Russell. I'm all in with Russell. Y'all know that. As far as Keegan, that's kind of a player deal, y'all. It's $28 million, right? But we were talking about 25. Everybody said, man, 30, 40, nah, don't get Keegan 35, 40 million, 28 million, bro. That's kind of a player contract. 5 years, 140. Who knows if he's going to stay here, right? But Scott Perry is cooking. That's all I'm going to say, bro. He cooking, man. Y'all let him do his job, man. He finna put a team together, man. Him, Doug, DJ, and that front office. Let him cook, Kings fans, bro. He cooking right now.
TC. Thank you, TC. I think the 2 biggest questions for Westbrook right now are not for him, but the things that we're wondering the most are most relevant questions. How much is he going to play? And if he plays, whose minutes is he going to take?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because, I mean, it's going to be it's going to play a lot of factors. Like, how many minutes he plays is going to determine how much impact he has, like, outside of the basketball decision-making of everything, too. Like, how big of a voice he'll have in the locker room. Like, the reality is, like, it's something that's universal from the time you're in Pop Warner and everything. Like, if you play, your voice matters a little bit more. And so, I think there's going to be a healthy balance of all of that, is trying to make sure, again, everybody is understanding what roles they're fitting into. And as we've kind of started the show today, talking about how together that group is, that could maybe be something that does cause fraction, that does cause some friction, is, roles and minutes and rotations and all of this stuff. And the diet of how everyone's getting their shots off. It's definitely a very interesting dice roll that they've thrown into this. But, I think the real thing is that it's just kind of the situation they're in now. I think they are still a competitive team, a competitive roster. It's just a matter of if the pieces are maybe going to make more sense than what we think.
They'll make a lot more sense, I think, if they end up acquiring a front court player with some of the what now would be considered spare parts.
Yes.
They already had that glut of guards. Now you've got another one. Does that mean that they're going to move somebody and bring in a front court player. A lot of people are wondering about that. I don't know about you, Chris or Jay. I haven't heard anybody suggesting that's in the works, but people do look at it and go, well, it would make sense if it is.
Yeah, no, definitely. I haven't heard anything in the works. I have not heard a single forward name that's even been rumored or linked to it. I throw Kelly Oubre out there only because his name
and I'm going to
was
throw it
thrown out
right
there.
back,
please,
but
please
fair
feel
enough.
free.
Yeah.
He's just a name that I do know is available that's currently on a roster. And that is, maybe rotation quality, because that's another thing. You can bring in your Mo Harklesses, your KZ Okpalas of the world. Just because they sign a forward doesn't necessarily mean that he's one that's worth a damn or that you should actually be playing in the rotation. So, haven't heard anything about it, but I do also wonder if maybe they look at their center. I don't really consider center a logjam, but I guess thinking about it in the sense of I don't really love any of those guys playing power forward. Isaac Jones, Maxime Reynaud, Drew Eubanks, Dario Saric. Do maybe one of those guys have to go too? Because again, not all of them are going to get minutes at the 4 and the 5 or the 5. And so one of those guys is probably going to be the odd man looking out. Feels like, again, if you're just talking about balancing out the roster, I would take one of your Devin Carter, your Malik Monk, your Keon, whoever you want it to be. That's probably the face of the trade, but maybe you can throw in a big as well to try and get some sort of rotational forward in here because they need it. And I don't know if there's any teams out there necessarily that are forward, that are just forward heavy either. That's the other scary thing.
It's been a fascinating day for the Kings and Kings fans, and the game hasn't even started yet. We'll get you ready for the Kings and the Clippers when we come back and wrap up our portion of the broadcast day next on Sactown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wow, it's getting cold. That's what happens when you have a cold front come through. It's the front of cold air, then you get all that cold air. How's your heater? How's your HVAC system? Is it ready for the winter, which I don't know what the calendar says, but my freezing feet say winter is here. Well, if you have some HVAC needs, make sure you check out leesair.com. Lee's Air Heating and Plumbing saved us. They saved our skin last winter. They kept us cool all summer long. And if you have any HVAC needs here with winter approaching, that's where you need to go. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating, ready to come out the day we called, treated us with a ton of respect. So it comes down to this, with all these HVAC companies out there, why choose Lee's? They offer that 100% satisfaction guarantee. They get 4.8 stars on Google. They've won awards for their service, and they've spent more than, 40 years serving the Valley's HVAC heating and plumbing needs. You can trust Lee's with installation and repair of your AC furnace and water heater. I know you can trust them because I trusted them. They came in my house. They did a great job. Find out more at leesair.com. Check out their mission statement and let Lee's take care of you the way they took care of me and my family. Treated us like family, set us up with an HVAC system that has improved our quality of life, that has saved us money, that has improved the air that we breathe. Lee's Air, Plumbing, and Heating. leesair.com. License number 635355.
Hit the field during Sky River Casino's $400,000 touchdown for a truck giveaway. Play slots and table games daily to earn entries. Then join in on the action every Saturday for a chance to score up to $15,000 in free play or a brand new 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500. Visit skyriver.com to see how you can get 100 bonus entries every Tuesday and Friday. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or over.
The deals are on now at the model year-end sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? Save on year-end models and drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop. Let's go.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
Remember when they used to ask, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" At Bank of America, we ask every day, "What would you like the power to do?" When you work here, you help build businesses, inspire communities, and forge legacies. And now we've raised our U.S. minimum wage to $25 an hour. So the opportunity to do more also comes with competitive pay. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/25. Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
It's the energy all around you. The thrill of the moments to come. The flash of lights. The rush of pure exhilaration. The roar of the crowd. See it, hear it, feel it.
Feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Hey man, gaining weight, dragging throughout the day, losing your drive? It could be your testosterone. The team at Revive Men's Health Sacramento gets men back on track with the energy and drive they've been missing. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations, and witness to hundreds of success stories.
I've seen guys come in worn out, discouraged, and just not themselves. A few months into treatment, they're standing taller, speaking with more confidence. It's like watching someone come back to life, like a light switch gets turned back on. When a spouse says, "Thank you, I really have my partner back, better than before," that's the moment it all clicks for me, and that's why I do what I do.
Since 2011, Revive Men's Health has helped more than 120,000 men regain their energy and drive. Start your story today with an in-clinic visit or a secure video appointment. Call 916-619-3000 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 916-619-3000. Or schedule anytime at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. Live and local, it's the Drive Guys. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
To quote our friend Alan Stiles, actually in our chat today, what a day, right, guys? All caps, Chris Watkins. All caps.
That guy already worked for 4 hours today. You really just...
What a day, right, guys? From Alan Stiles,
Sure.
Jay, in our chat.
Dog, don't he got 2 kids?
That's what I'm saying.
A wife?
Get out of the chat.
Oh, man, you need to take another paternity leave.
Jeez, what is going on?
He's excited.
He must be. I've never been that excited. Come on.
Russell Westbrook is a Sacramento King, and Keegan Murray signing that 5-year, or agreeing to, I don't know that it's actually signed yet, 5-year, $140 million extension.
You know, it's definitely one of the bigger days, especially news-wise for Sacramento Kings history, for sure. I mean, Keegan getting on his second contract. You know, it is interesting. I wish I would have tracked it down during the break. I know that the Kings actually do have a pretty bad streak here of having their draft picks not being not fully playing through their second contract. I can't remember the last King that finished their second contract with the team.
Interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
De'Aaron Fox obviously moved off. We can go down the list of all the first rounders that obviously I don't even think made it to the second contract, let alone through the second contract. But I mean, as Jay's kind of already talking about Keegan Murray being the placeholder, it does make me wonder, we just don't know how committed they are to Keegan Murray, the individual. But that is almost immediately where my mind went is, it's very nice for Keegan, but this does not guarantee necessarily he will be a Sacramento King for life and break Jason Thompson's, games played record.
This is great news if it's true, and I assume it is from Manny Too Legit in the chat. Keegan just got married and getting the bag, and hopefully he can now win us a championship. I got the script, LOL. So.
Oh, well, isn't that fantastic? I mean,
like
that is a hell of a year right there, is it
That
not?
is.
I mean, getting married and then, potentially
See, now,
$28 million.
I was assuming maybe eventually he wins a championship, but you're saying...
No, I'm saying this
now.
season.
Okay,
yeah, no, it's all happening.
Shame on
He
me.
got the script. I mean, how long of a script do you think
You're
this
right.
thing is? That's,
You're right.
It's not we're not talking about like Harry Potter and it's 7.5 parts or whatever. Like we got a tight script here. We're not talking about an Avengers type run out here. So, it would be one incredible year for Keegan for sure.
Yeah, I know not everybody, oddly, is thrilled with the Keegan news. I think most people are very happy about it. And,
For some reason, people have problems with other people spending their money. It's like, oh, Keegan makes $28 million. And again, like, if you want to have an actual basketball conversation, kind of like what Jay was mentioning earlier, like if it's just hey, you're paying Keegan Murray X amount of dollars and that means that you have to be this type of player or else it doesn't make a championship formula, that's a fine conversation. But if you just want to complain about these guys making too much money and if you're making $28 million, you better make a free throw, like get out of here.
Clay says, I've seen a dominant Keegan Murray, but that's like 2 nights out of a 1,000-game season. 1,000-game season? What?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with the sentiment there. I do think I would just enjoy to see more Keegan Murray having nights for himself. Like, that Utah game, obviously we all remember, what was it, all the threes that he hit, 11 threes or whatever it was. But
didn't he set the record for most threes in a row?
Yes,
I know he set the record as a rookie for most threes.
He made 10 straight threes.
But then,
10 straight threes, which is an NBA record. He made 11. I think he was 11 of 13 or 11 of 14 that game. But, yeah, that's been my big problem with Keegan Murray. And problem, for lack of a better term, is I just think the guy needs to have an ego. Like, we talk about Russell Westbrook. We've been talking about egos all day today. And Keegan Murray, to me, is it's fascinating how he's even, made it as far as he has without being selfish or stubborn or whatever word we want to use. But I would love to see Keegan Murray look at guys across from him and say, I can take this kid. Like, I'm Keegan Murray. I've been in the league for 4 years. Maybe when I was a rookie, I would have been afraid of what do I do? Do I go through him? Do I try and dance around him? I would like to think now Keegan Murray should be feeling himself and should have matchups where he says, look, I'm older, stronger, better, bigger than this guy. Let me work right here. Let me cook. And I just don't see enough of it.
Let Keegan cook.
Let Keegan cook.
Peg Junk says he's a $28 million guy is
Already.
the same guy that cusses out players that make them lose DraftKings money. So.
Prop talk. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's the same blood, same spirit. It's get the dude on the couch yelling. Absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how Russ fits in.
Yeah.
I would not have made the move, but I'm not going to waste anybody's time right now. I reserve the right to do it later to talk about why they do this. I mean, we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, what we can do is tell you what he brings. Like, I can't tell you, exactly how the fit's going to be. I can't tell you how he's going to play every single night, but I can tell you the player that they're bringing in, and it's a dude who does bring it every single night. And I think that's the one thing that is most enticing for Scott Perry and for Doug Christie as well, is a dude who they just don't have to question if they're going to sub him in. Is this guy going to bring the right energy? He's going to bring all of the energy, and it's probably going to be, how many times have we talked about just energy, hustle, want, defensive, just how much of that is just a mentality. And just in Sacramento in general, how easy I think it is on some nights to say, nobody's watching. It's a 7 p.m. tip. We're 5 games below 500 and nobody cares about the Kings anyways because the Warriors, Lakers, and Clippers are all on at the same time. It's pretty easy to mail this game in against the New Orleans Pelicans. That's the kind of night where Russell Westbrook is going to come in with his hair on fire and, cause chaos for good and bad. And I think that's, again, what they're really looking for from him, is just bringing energy. And, we'll see what that energy actually turns into, whether it's points, assists, rebounds, wins. I think really the one thing that they can say, control the controllables, control Russ's effort level every single night, I think is what they're hoping to bring in.
There are certain players, not a lot, but certain guys just impress you with how hard they play. Most players have to play hard or they don't keep their jobs. So I'm not saying players are lazy. They're not. There are a few here or there maybe that, and veteran players pick their spots. My point is this: when I think of the players that just make you go, wow, or make me go, that guy plays hard. I can really only think of 2 off the top of my head. Russ is one, and the other is Bobby Jackson.
Wow. And isn't that amazing? Bobby's on the staff now, too. How incredible that would be.
I mean, I know in the past we've talked about players, especially younger players, they think they're playing hard, and it's like, you're not. You think you are, but you're not.
Right.
But those 2 guys, there's just no question in my mind you could see with Bobby and certainly with Russell Westbrook. Like their games, not quibble with this or that. Man, they just always played hard.
Yeah, no, and to your point too, it's the outliers. Like it's all these guys work hard. It's not as if there's lazy guys and then there's guys who work hard and the guys who work hard stick out. They are all hard workers. Even, the worst NBA player you can think of is in the gym more than you are doing whatever your 9 to 5 is. And so these guys definitely work their behinds off every single day, even when people aren't watching. And it's the guys who still stick, to your point, the guys who still stick out amongst that group of people, amongst the professional athletes, the guys that you can still look at and say, it just looks like they're on a different frequency than everybody else. To stick out, I think is been, again, Russell Westbrook's greatest strength, but also at points a really big weakness of him. And that's the part where I will very much listen to people who have worry that maybe this thing goes a little haywire. He's pretty chaotic. He is, again, 100 miles an hour, and there's definite positives in that. But especially as you get older, going 100 miles per hour just isn't the way to go. And I think a lot of the time it leads to a lot of frustration, a lot of really bad mistakes. And we'll see again how much the Kings minimalize his impact in those moments. Like, will he even be on the floor in closing games?
That's a great question.
I don't even think it makes sense right now. Like, you think of where the Kings are going to go. Again, with Keegan being out, rotation's completely different. I can't imagine Russ is cracking the final rotation unless it's him or Dennis Schroeder every night. And even then, Malik Monk can enter the equation. Keon Ellis can enter the equation. And I still feel like those guys are going to get the nod more times than not over Russ.
Yeah, we're taking you up to game night, the high flyer, and Scott Marsh, who I've played with him. Good player, but he's not a high flyer. The low flyer and the high flyer. I don't think he would disagree with that.
No, I don't think so.
I'm sorry.
I don't think so.
I've played with him. He's a good
I've also
player.
played with Scott Marsh, actually. He's a really good player. He's a shooter.
Don't leave him alone out there.
No, definitely not. 100%.
Yeah, but, he's not going to posterize you. And I'm not either. Unless we're playing
Mark's
Nerf ball or something. Yeah.
Jason Ross, maybe. I've heard tales of Jason inside-outside game. Look out for that guy.
Yeah. Jason Ross, a good player. He's one of the guys, when he's on your team, you always know where he's going to be. I remember playing with him one time. It's like, I'm not even looking, but I know he's going to be there, and you could throw. He's always in the right spot. But I appreciate this, Chris. I know you compiled this stat. The Kings have not over the last few years. They don't win a lot of preseason games. Do they?
No, they don't. And I don't know if that's good or bad.
It's probably
probably
neither.
Not great, but yeah.
Last year it did seem to be kind of a bad omen.
Yes.
23-24, they were 1-4.
Yes, 1-4. Yeah, and the only one that they won was their final preseason game, so very close to being 0-5.
24-25, they were over, and they haven't won yet this year. So you got them here. It says 23-24, 1-11 in preseason games.
Yeah, that's not great.
It's preseason.
That's not great. Yeah. You can definitely. It's one of those where it works for either side, right? Like I think the Ravens historically have been really, really good in the preseason, and so it can be a sign of that's just a sign of a good, well-run organization from top to bottom. You're prepared at all games. Doesn't matter if it's preseason, as long as the whistle's being blown, you're ready to play that sport. There's also it's preseason. Don't read anything into it. Come on.
I know they've lost both the games, as you pointed out, so far. The first game, they lost, but what was disconcerting was how poorly the starters played in that game. And I thought they played better in the second game, but tonight at home, I mean, do we just have to give up on the notion of a home court advantage with this team? It just doesn't.
No, it's a disadvantage.
Stick.
It's an active disadvantage, it feels like, to play at Golden One Center, specifically because of the shooting of the other teams. I don't know what's going on. It's now been coaches over coaches. It's been years over years.
Yeah.
Teams and different teams, different shooters. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. The common thread is an opposing team comes into Golden One Center and they light the nets on fire. I don't know what it is about. The people have said it's the lighting between the hoop and the stands. It's whatever you want to say it is. For whatever reason, people knock down threes at Golden One Center to the point where it starts to feel like this is a disadvantage for us because for some reason it doesn't work for our side of things. The Kings are not incredibly shooting, 45% or something from three because it's just better nets or better rims or better vision or better depth perception, whatever. So yeah, I don't know what's going on at Golden One Center, but we need to fix it. We need to throw some strobe lights in there. Maybe get the wall, much like Intuit Dome. Maybe we get a crazy fan to, I don't know, paint his belly and I don't know, do something. We need to figure something out.
I hadn't thought of that.
I don't know, man.
We can give it a try.
This is where we're at here. Is I think we really need to try and
crazy.
exhaust
I'm
all
gonna write
options.
down crazy fan to paint his
crazy
belly.
fan painting belly.
Okay.
Maybe some gyration in there to throw off. The depth perception. Worth a try. I'm just saying,
I'm not pocket watching as far as Keegan goes, but one way he can really start to earn that money right away is if he has a really good year shooting the three ball this year. Last year he got off to a bad start, and then after that, I think it was around first of the year from then on, he shot the ball really well. But, this team, as we've discussed, it's not a great three-point shooting team, and he is a good three-point shooter.
Yeah.
And they need him going forward as long as he's on the team to become even better and more consistent. And as you said, less reluctant to let it fly. Yes. That's one of the areas in which there's growth there. And you're not asking him to do anything that he can't do because he's proven he can make threes.
Yeah, no, I think that's hopefully the one biggest addition for Dennis Schroeder is that it's somebody who can guard the other point guards, because that's the only excuse that I'm willing to hear for Keegan Murray's three-point percentage just dropping year after year after year is that he's been asked to guard the other team's best player. And I'm willing to let it slide because fatigue-wise, if you're going to be guarding Steph Curry, De'Aaron Fox all game, I'm going to cut you some slack if your next shot is a little bit short because your legs are just not there. And Keegan's also gained a lot of muscle as well. I think that has a little bit of factor into it. But the bigger point is, and I used to say this with Kevin Huerter all the time, it's great if Keegan Murray can, get 4 assists a game. It's great if Keegan Murray can guard the team's number one defender. I drafted Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray's on the team. Keegan Murray's making $28 million to hit threes. I need him to be a knockdown three-point shooter, and if he's not doing that, and if he's actually suffering at that because of other things I'm asking him to do, well, then he's not the Keegan Murray that I'm paying for. And so I think that needs to be a little bit of the focus here this season when it comes to Keegan's development is focus on actually developing Keegan, not having him fill in the gaps for the team, but actually for once prioritizing what this guy does and trying to actually put him in the best situations so that we do get an answer on where exactly this guy falls in our future pantheon here. Is he somebody that we can maybe factor in as a number 2 behind a star that we're missing? Or is this guy, again, just a very nice role piece that'll be a nice piece for starting 5?
Ron Slusher in the YouTube chat says, bring back Royale. I don't know.
Think that's the answer.
I think the Kings are over the mascot cap. I think Slamson is certainly due the extent. Slamson is.
He's been doing extension.
Yeah. And I saw something about the upcoming Fan Fest.
Yes, the 18th. I think that's this weekend.
And there was another mascot mentioned in there.
No way.
And I have to double check that. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I think we've been around Slammy before. Slammy's the smaller.
The inflatable?
Yes, the inflatable
the weird,
one.
Yeah.
Because I think weird one.
Yeah.
It just kind of.
He also was. Yeah, I think they agreed to the rookie mascot extension with him. So I don't think there's any money left for Royale.
No, there's none for Royale. I mean, he's a very, very expensive contract. He's a veteran guy, and so you just kind of hope he finds his footing.
Locker room issue too.
Little bit of a locker room issue. I mean, we saw the dismay he caused last year, and I think it was just best for him to sit out the remainder of that season and. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I don't think that. I don't think
he's
he's
best
in
for all
future
parties that he.
Yeah, I will say he exists somewhere.
Well, remember they were going to bring him back.
He was going, and I think it's because they got to the point where that costume exists. I'm sorry, it might not be a costume. Sorry, cover your ears, kids. I don't know.
Did you see the video that they ran? You probably saw it. Where they had Scott and Slamson, and they called the Cincinnati Reds mascot, "You have something that belongs to us." So it's like,
no, actually, I didn't see that. They called the Reds mascot. No, I did not see this.
They had him, and they called, and then they had that Reds. It's like the big baseball head, and he answered. It's funny, he can't talk, but Scott says, "You have something that belongs to us. Can you send it back?" And he was like. And so it looked like this actually ran during a game, and it looked like, they're bringing him back. And
no,
they
thanks.
didn't. And I was wondering if they were going to bring him back when De'Aaron came back.
Yeah. See, and this could be my fan with the belly and all that stuff. Just throw Royale in the front couple rows and, you know, scare the other team, you know?
Yeah.
The costume exists. My bigger point is that they have to do something with it. I know they spent the money to create the costume. There's no way they're just going to let that thing sit in a closet somewhere. There's no way. That thing's got to pop up at some point.
Send him to the G League.
They should, at least something, man. Get him some reps.
Sean Maller, pardon me, in all fairness,
hey.
talking about Russ, he says, 29 other NBA teams didn't want him all July, all August, all September, ... Look, that's true.
That is true. Yeah. And it's, you know, I don't know. That's why it's just going to be a wait and see thing. Like that, it's hard to ignore that fact of it, that all the teams looked at him and said, look, like even in a backup role, I just don't want him. Like it could be a little bit of the Tim Tebow thing where he is just such a big presence that even as a backup, it's just, I'd much rather have, you know, Tyus Jones as my backup, who nobody's going to write any articles about him starting or being, you know, potentially something that can unlock this team. Like, I think Russ just brings a lot of baggage.
The curious thing is, as far as what was reported, and we can't always assume that that's always accurate, but it was reported, right, Chris, that the Kings wanted Russell Westbrook, but they were waiting to see, they were trying to clear some space in the backcourt.
Yep.
They didn't have roster room, and they wanted to create salary. So, okay, that makes sense. And it didn't happen, but they go ahead and add him anyway. So, so what's going to happen next? Also, look at it this way. If the Kings really were just looking at, we need a backup point guard, okay? Who else was better that was available?
I don't have an answer.
Just looking
Especially
at
not
it
at that price
purely,
point.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Again, I have my own
questions,
confusions and questions over this, but when you look at it that way, Kings felt they needed a backup point guard. Who else would you go get?
I didn't have a good answer. I didn't have a good other answer, and that's why ultimately I don't really have a massive problem with it.
Especially when you have guys, apparently veterans on the team going,
yes,
get that guy.
Right. Yeah.
Multiple veterans on the team.
Yeah, and it's not really, at the end of the day, it's not really like this team had real aspirations anyway. Like, you know, championship aspirations or contending aspirations to where now we have to question if Russ hampers any goals that they had set for this year. I think unless your goal was to lose more games, I just don't think the addition of Russell Westbrook is really, and again, we can have conversations about development and those kind of minutes and things, but ultimately I just don't really think Russell Westbrook is hamstringing this team as much as what people are maybe fearful of.
I know it's only a preseason game. Hopefully the game tonight, of course, here on Sactown Sports, hopefully it'll be more competitive than this game was. The Celtics coaches played the Boston media. And I don't know if they do this all the time. I've seen video
it's
of
usually media.
Okay, because I've seen Kyle Draper taking a charge from Scalabrine.
Really?
Have you seen that video?
I have not.
Yeah,
no,
they actually
that
played out at
TV.
NBC Sports California once. But anyway, the Celtics told reporters they could use the Arbac Center courts for a media game after practice. And then after the game, Mazzulla shared news of a change. Joe Mazzulla's staff includes multiple former NBA players, and they took on the media. Final score, media 4, Celtics coaches 57. And you know that Joe Mazzulla was playing all out.
All out. You want to talk about 94 feet?
Yeah.
That would have been an example of, I'm guaranteed they were picking up 94.
Wired a little differently.
57-4.
57-4.
That's disrespectful. And now I know, like, nobody really likes talking to media, but that is one of those where it's like, we've had something for you. And I've been meaning to give, hey, I saw your tweet last week.
Yep.
Please, ISO, please. Like,
this wasn't like a, hey guys, let's play a little bit.
You know what would be fun? You know what would be really fun? We can go captains, we'll go teams 1-for-1. No, it was straight up, we have plays, we're going to run. I guarantee they ran some play that the Celtics run. I can't imagine. And my bigger question, of course, is like, how do we get this set up here?
Yeah.
This has to happen.
We could just have the 1140 team.
We can do it in the garage.
Yeah. Jay, are you in? 1140 team against Kings coaches?
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
We ain't scoring on 4, I tell you that.
I'm playing it on Jay for the intel, too. Jay's got...
You know what's interesting? And I get it. Joe was wired different.
Yeah.
But
nice way to put it.
He truly... He did it for embarrassment though.
Yes. Yeah.
He was to prove a point. Like, you guys talk and write and do everything that you guys talk about, and none of you dudes can even, and Gail, because there was a Gail, Clara Thompson, I believe, can't even hit a bucket.
Yeah.
You can't dribble. You can't even get past half court.
You literally probably couldn't
So
dribble.
I was like, man, I got it. I understood what he was saying, you know?
Uh-huh.
I know some people don't like it, but that's fine.
Yeah, Joe Mazzulla was a 4-year player at West Virginia.
He was
locking folks
yeah,
up.
Supposedly
Did you guys see
really
any
good.
of the videos?
I did not.
Oh, yeah, I saw some of the
okay.
videos.
They
yeah.
were definitely 94 feet.
Yes, they were.
And he said it.
Somebody picked up. I think the last shot of the game, a coach hit a half-court
It was him.
shot. Was it him?
Wasn't it Joe that hit the fist pump like the long hat? Wasn't it him?
Somebody hit a half-court
Yeah,
shot
somebody did.
as the buzzer went off, and then they scroll over to the scoreboard, and it says 57-4. I mean, shout out to whoever scored the 4 also. I don't know. Those people must not be on socials because I don't care if I scored 2. I don't care if I went 2 of 20.
I know.
I'm flexing that I was part of the 4.
You were part of the points on the board.
If you do that, you might be worried, what's Joe going to do to me now?
Oh, my God. Well, he can't tell me nothing. Are you kidding me?
I hit y'all for 4.
Yeah, come on.
All right, you're back with us tomorrow, Chris?
I will be back tomorrow.
Looking forward to that. Stick around because we got game night with the high flyer and the low flyer next on Sactown Sports.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I'm opening my own coffee shop.
I smell a caffeinated catastrophe.
And I needed menu boards and banners printed.
What you really needed was a reality check.
Staples really came through. They printed menus and signs, even flyers in time for my grand opening.
And that's when the other shoe dropped.
Not quite. I got $125 off my custom print order.
Cha-ching!